Wake up, gamers, because you're listening to the Big Think Dimension with Dan and Bob Video Games. The ESA betrayed and left in the hyperbolic time chamber.
No!
Chris Wolfhard.
This requires more analysis.
And Dr. Agro.
I too have been in open beta the whole time.
Here on GigaBoots. I've been open about being a beta the whole time. It's like the same thing, right?
All footage is pre-Sigma.
Oh, man. Somewhere in between these two, it's like, I asked her to prom first, but fine, you go ahead. I can go my own way.
Good Lord.
Anyways, welcome to Big Think Dimension number 215, not 205. I used the same assets for the thumbnail, so I messed that up. I have since changed the title of the stream. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm very excited to be here today to talk about, it feels like we've said it at least 6 times already, but the death of E3.
Yeah.
It's like you never get that tweet from a celebrity going, I am dead, right? But the ESA basically did that. They're like, hey, no, this time it's real. And everyone's like, oh, shit.
No, we'll be back next year, we swear.
Straight from the dead horse's mouth. Holy shit. Sure. All right, okay. Oh, wait, 1 second. Okay, I believe you. Like, fucking...
I mean, it could happen. Microsoft could buy the rights to E3.
Could you imagine that? So here's the thing. Here's how the ESA works. The ESA is kind of like a lobbying organization that a bunch, like every major console platform holder has a hand in. And then every large publisher does too. So in order for Microsoft to get the rights to E3, that means Sony and Nintendo went, whatever, man. Fuck.
We don't care.
Yeah. I mean, you guys bought Activision before you went on and bought 10 other companies in the year since this podcast was recorded. Go ahead. I feel like Activision should have told you there's no fucking point in E3. They were one of the first to dip out.
Microsoft announces it's bringing Call of Duty to E3 for the next 10 years.
Where was that announcement? That would have been so good.
Good Lord.
It's funny because it's not less meaningful than the we are bringing it to cloud platform that no one cares about.
Right?
It's not less meaningful than that, but it is equally moot, I guess.
It is exactly as meaningful. Not at all.
Right, yeah. Hard to be less meaningful than not at all meaningful. Video games. Wait, this isn't an Avenging My Youth. Why did I start with that? I don't know. Weird.
I thought this is a start for some sort of Star Trek monologue you're going to go on.
No, Big Think Picard over here.
Yes.
Video games. When I look at them up there on the screens,
See, I just
think
thought
about
video games, the final frontier.
And then we cued the giant orchestral song and we go back to sleep because the intro's that long. And like, okay, we got time.
The orchestral song that Dan wrote lyrics for to take half the royalties from the actual composer, wrote lyrics that nobody ever planned to use ever.
This is a neat sheet of paper. Anyways, do you know how law is kind of like magic where you just need to phrase things correctly? Oh, man.
But you don't worry. We'll take care of that 21 years after the death of the final descendant of King Charles III.
We've arrived here in the ESA quadrant. There have been many reports that they have all been wiped out. We're here to confirm. Their last message is them sending out a signal saying, we're dead. We're just not sure, though. Anyway. Hey, guys. What's up? Last week, we played Wind Waker HD. The next day, the Calamity Carl went live with original Wind Waker and confirmed a lot of things that I was upset about during the Wind Waker HD stream just by playing it. It wasn't like Carl, like I didn't even go, hey, Carl, Tell me about the differences. I just watched Carl play and got mad. Which is like one of the weirdest reasons to get mad at a stream. Has nothing to do with the streamer, how they're playing, or anything else. I'm just like, oh, hey, there's a mini map on the screen. What a concept. You know,
you
like
totally wouldn't want it on the tablet in your hands.
but it's not in my hands because I'm using a normal controller.
Even if it were, it still sucks. Every single game that did that was just upsetting.
Right, yeah. The Wii U itself is fundamentally a bad proposition.
That I did not know that about that version.
Yeah, it's really weird. They also redesigned every menu and somehow made them worse.
Is this why they haven't ported that yet?
Possibly.
It's just that bad? Because all I know about that is they kind of fixed the Triforce hunting.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, one of the major things with Wind Waker is that at the end of the very bare bones content, which I was not aware of how little dungeons and normal game there is in that until we went through it again for that stream. There are only like 5, maybe 6 dungeons in the whole game.
Yeah, and it's a stretch to call some of them dungeons even.
Yeah. But once you get done with the actual content they made, you have to go on a Triforce quest, which a lot of people were like, oh, there's a grid and you're going on a quest for Triforce pieces. It's kind of like the original Zelda because that too had a grid. But the thing is, like, to get the Triforce pieces in that Zelda, you went through dungeons. Here, it's a lot more bare bones and kind of crappy about how you do it. In the original Wind Waker, you have to get the 8 Triforce pieces by finding a map and then paying Tingle to translate the map and then going to where it points to. In this, 5 of the 8 Triforce pieces, you don't have to translate at all.
Instead, you have to do combat rooms. Do you know if those combat rooms are new for this version? Like, is that
I'm pretty sure what you're literally doing to get them isn't different.
Okay.
So just imagine they added a step where you pay hundreds of rupees.
Because in my head, it was like, maybe the original, because it's been like over 10 years, obviously.
Yeah, let me check.
20, I think? Yeah, 20.
Yeah, it's been over 20. Yeah,
it's 20 years.
For me, it's been exactly 20 because I beat it a little later after it came out because I was that pissed over the Triforce class. Anyways.
But if it was literally just paying for the maps and going to find them and like just throwing the anchor down and like, or the claw down and grabbing the Triforce out of the water, that would be better than what we did.
Yeah.
Because every one of those Triforces that wasn't like that was doing a combat room that sucked.
I'm okay with the one that was an insane amount of combat rooms.
Yes,
I was okay with that one. And conceptually, pirate ship, very cool. Because you find out the pirate ship, it's in certain squares on certain moon phases, and you have to find the map to figure out where it lines up on your version.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's really cool.
Yeah, it was a really neat idea.
That's a cool one. But then there are a bunch of other ones. It's like it's on this boat. Here's a combat room. Here's another combat room. There's another combat room. You're done. Good job.
So we now have, like, was every major entry in a Nintendo franchise on the GameCube, other than Melee, just like woefully undercooked?
I've been thinking about that a lot since last Friday's stream because you hear Miyamoto talk about that time making Sunshine and working at Nintendo is like his least happy he's ever been as a developer. And I'm like, looking at Sunshine, looking at Wind Waker, and taking in the tone, right? You guys got to keep in mind the GameCube launches a full year after the PS2. The PS2 has like that fucking Chad shonen villain energy, right? Where everyone's like, oh, this dude's gonna fuck us up in 1 year, but we gotta train and hope for the best.
It's a fucking DVD player. What do we do?
Yeah, there was a lot of that energy. So like you look at the games and it's just like, man, these seem a little undercooked. At very least when it comes to those two. Personally, I don't like the GameCube Mario Kart, but that's because to me there was something tonally about the N64 one I was into, and then the DS one's amazing. and the things in between I don't care for. Like, I don't like the GameCube one all that much, like basically at all, and I don't like the Game Boy Advance one basically at all.
Yeah, I don't. It's weird, like, and people can talk about the other companies that they got working for them, like Metroid Prime was made by outside companies, but we're talking like Nintendo Japan,
right?
Like those internal developments.
Because I do see a lot of people like in chat right now, and they're like, Star Fox, presumably Assault, because no one's sitting here like, well, Dinosaur Planet. but yeah, that's made by Namco. F-Zero's made by Sega. You know,
Wario World's made by Treasure. It's like they outsourced so much that gen.
Right. And those things might have been okay, but
yeah,
like the Mario Kart.
Not only were
Zelda
those later in the gen, almost all of them.
Yeah.
Like F-Zero GX, Star Fox Assault, those are all coming at the end. But you're talking about the first 2-3 years, you know, with Nintendo developed stuff, and it just seems like they're struggling. Maybe there's a reason they hung around with that power of hardware for one extra gen.
Right.
This is the first time I've actually considered maybe that was a software driven decision. Like, it wasn't budgetary necessarily, right? It wasn't, well, we don't want to spend that much money making a real 7th gen AAA game. Let's stay back with the hardware. Maybe it actually was like they were marketing it. This is enough hardware. We need to figure out how to do this better. Because I think they did a pretty good job. I think with the Wii.
It does seem like Nintendo keeps having to climb these hills they can't quite get over for a while. And like the current one is just they don't have enough fucking people.
Right. Yeah.
Which they understand is like we're doubling the amount of people, so maybe we can have spin-offs to our franchises again. Because the whole Switch lifespan has just been in like, there's a hole in our schedule, Wii U port. There's a hole in our schedule, Wii U port. There's a hole in our schedule, Wii U port, or uncooked sports game.
Yeah,
lots of those.
your 3 options on the Switch are this: Wii U port, uncooked Switch game, shonen protagonist realizing his stand has an extra power.
Like, yeah, it's so insane. It's like the 3 tiers of Nintendo release: port, undercooked sports game. The closest thing to an immaculate super game that can exist on the Switch hardware.
Yeah, it's
like franchise redefining entry.
Yeah, you get like Mario Tennis Aces or whatever. You get new Super Mario Bros. U Switch edition, and then you get Metroid Dread. It's just like, what the fuck are you doing? It's really interesting. I prefer this system. I think it's great. But yeah, more spinoffs would be better, especially for the Zelda IP. I think Zelda's so interesting and so strong that the original recipe, like it's fucking fried chicken, the original recipe for Zelda is still a strongly compelling thing even now. And I don't think Tears of the Kingdom will exactly fulfill those needs for those people.
Yeah, I feel like it's crazy that they don't have like the side-by-side, like, here's the big 3D one, here's our 2D inspired, like, old school one.
Here we go. I have the perfect
like,
solution. I have the perfect solution. You ready for this? Okay, here we go. Who did the spin-off Zeldas that wasn't Nintendo back in the day? Capcom.
Right.
Capcom, where's our RE Engine hyper gritty realistic Zelda that's styled after Twilight Princess and more typical older Zeldas that are 3D?
I really do need them to just this ramping up to lead to like, okay, here's our Zelda spinoff that is the old formula.
Yeah, that would be good.
I don't mind if a franchise completely reinvents itself, but there was none of those Zelda games failed. Like it's a formula you can do forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like was playing through Wind Waker just the other day. This was really the point of, it felt like they were already running out of ideas for dungeons. So I really maybe they need this break. Maybe they can come up with maybe if they come back to it or have new people working on it.
It feels cool and interesting to be like, tomorrow I get to play Twilight Princess for the first time ever, basically, because I've only played 10 minutes of the intro. And I was like, I don't want to do this for
it's
20 fucking hours. I'm not going to play this game.
I hope they didn't make some nightmare Wii U port and we just don't know. Like they didn't ruin everything in a different way.
They're like, pull out your Wiimote. I'm like, no. Dan had to put down the Wii U.
Is the Wii U version the same as the Wii version? Is it the flipped version? Is it the false version?
It should be the normal version. It should be the true Link,
Right.
not the betrayer. But yeah, I assume it's normal.
Right.
That would be the point.
And they didn't take the mini map away from this main screen and put it on the Wii U game.
Now that I actually have no idea about.
Didn't ruin every menu in the game, hopefully.
The Wind Waker HD port.
That's what the Wii U is for, Bob. I'm sorry.
It's
It's
literally
to
the
ruin
console.
menus because now they're a touch. They're a touch screen.
It's the console equivalent of a monkey's paw.
Yeah.
Oh, you want a port?
It's crazy. I've never seen an item menu this bad in a Zelda game.
Me neither.
It literally has nested menus that make no sense.
There was a menu tab that was like, it pretended it was one of the 3 or 4 important things you would always engage with. We didn't use it once because it was like, these are Tingle bottles.
Yeah. And then the item menu tab has 2 separate versions.
Which
Which
isn't
one is
demarcated
useful.
well.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really impressive. I assume Twilight Princess won't be that screwed up.
You're right. I really
think-
hope.
I think being this early on the Wii U, this is the Wii U's equivalent of 6-axis after touch controls, where it's just the launch period. People are like, look what we can do. And then, later in that console's life, they look back and look what we did.
Yeah. Yeah, because the Twilight Princess port's way later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm really excited. I'm really excited because I loved Wind Waker outside of the Triforce Quest growing up, and playing it last Friday, I sort of came to terms with this game isn't done. And one of the things I talk about with Sunshine is it seems like with Sunshine, there isn't a lot of variety in levels, and I don't know how much of that is, well, we have to stick to the aesthetic, and how much of it is, oh my God, making assets of this fidelity is really hard.
Right.
I really think it's that one.
It's entirely possible. I do think so too. I really am. It's weird. One of the cool things about doing exploratory streams like we do all the time is that it helps us better understand stuff.
Mhm.
You start to, after years of playing 7th gen games, you get surprised anytime they keep the money flowing the whole way through.
Yeah.
Because you're so used to okay, now eat all the eggs for the last 2 hours, and we have introduced no new content to do that in. So you learn things, and I feel like Wind Waker HD, I don't know how to phrase this, but it basically like red pilled me on the idea that it was like Nintendo with the GameCube, because the GameCube's so powerful, bit off way more than they could chew and started to choke. And that's why the Wii has the GameCube and a half energy, because they had no idea how they would make that leap again.
Oh yeah, another weird thing. They added a sail in this version, which automatically makes you go fast.
Yeah, the Swiss sail.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which would be fine, but you don't even. It just.
Yeah, real quick, before you explain what it does, years I was told by people just this. They're like, yeah, that sail makes you go fast. I'm like, okay, cool. That makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course.
No one told me about the thing you were going to say.
Yeah, that it automatically adjusts the wind to help you.
I'm like, wait,
What?
so I'm not even waking the wind anymore?
Right?
You mean every time you want to turn 5 degrees, you don't have to stop and pull out the baton?
Uh-huh. You
That's
just
not even the same game anymore.
No, it's not, which is why I submit, if I ever do a playthrough of this again, I just want a version of the GameCube one with the Triforce Quest deleted.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
delete it.
no, like you did not play Wind Waker. You did not learn how to tack. You did not hunt down the Triforce. You did not play Wind Waker.
Hell,
You cheated the game and yourself.
Weird that the instruction manual's telling me this. This is strange.
It also gets you in a really bad habit of not doing that. So you'll do stuff like you have the leaf you float with.
Yeah, the leaf glider.
the leaf glider. You need to adjust the wind for that. We just
because
weren't even thinking about it because they removed it from the rest of the game, basically.
since your brain is just flat because it no longer has folds and curves and shit. Since your brain's just flat now, you sit there and go, oh, that thing's out there. Okay, I'm gonna jump and use it. And then it turns out the wind was completely 90 degrees to the left, and you go, oh shit, fuck, oh god, because you can't wind wake in midair.
Right.
You can't like glide and try to save yourself. That would be really funny as a mechanic.
Right.
You just
Instead
keep
of
falling
freezing it, just
slowly.
slow-mo, and you have a few seconds to try it.
Yes. It's really interesting. It's really interesting as a port that should have been such a home run.
Mm-hmm.
But now I kind of look at as the bad version of that game to play. Because the art style shifted too.
Right.
Which
And that's basically the best thing about the game. So that they even adjusted it all ruins it.
yeah, it's a little weird because you would just think, oh, it's an HD. And it's like, no, they added tons of bloom, a bad ambient occlusion, which I hear people all the time. They're like, let me tell you all the problems with the Wind Waker HD graphical art style shift. And you're all wrong. The biggest problem is the ambient occlusion, is 7th gen ambient occlusion, where if I was ambient occluded in 7th gen, that bookshelf would have a silhouette of me projected onto it. Like someone took a marker and just drew around my silhouette. Looks terrible in that game. Link is like projecting a shadow to the other end of a fucking ship he's on because the camera's low. It looks terrible. It's horrible.
I might be remembering wrong, but I'm pretty sure like every first-party Nintendo game on the Wii U like used the exact same lighting, that they had things they could slot into every game, and that's why they all have like the exactly same weird lighting.
Well, the interesting thing is this Wind Waker HD is actually handled by Hexadrive. They actually did heavy development in it, apparently. And it's like, no, that makes sense. For people who don't know, Hexadrive, they did a number of HD things around the time, like Zone of the Enders HD.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they fixed up the PS3 version for Konami. But, you know, they also made one of the best video games ever made, Third Birthday. One of the best portable games ever made, Third Birthday. When?
Oh my god, they made the fucking Chris DLC for Resident Evil 7?
Yes. Yes, they did.
Yeah. Man, they really...
You can go and watch that stream, and when we hit them in the credits, I go, what? Because that was a weird one.
Yes.
I expect them in some places. Chris DLC is not it.
Man, why was posted the Resident Evil 7 DLCs better than the RE8 DLC? Like, the Chris DLC and the Baker DLC were way better.
Bob, I would explain, but that would upset Resident Evil 8 fans.
I know.
I don't like
probably
upsetting
because
Resident
they
Evil
wanted
8
to do
fans.
that. They intended to do that from the start instead of not at all.
Yeah,
I don't like upsetting Resident Evil 8 fans. That's why I'm not on that spoiler cast. You did.
Apparently,
actually.
Hexadrive also made Final Fantasy 15 DLC.
They did. Yeah.
Yeah.
We did actually make that spoiler cast, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wasn't on it at all.
Right, unless you hosted or something.
I don't think I
remember.
even hosted that one. I think I was like, I don't need to open my mouth on the topic of Resident Evil 8.
Okay. That sounds right.
And then 4 came out, and I'm like, it's time. The Kefka music ramps up as my mouth opens. Yeah. I'm sorry, Resident Evil 8 fans. I will never see eye to eye with you. But I just wanted to say something I wanted to get out for a bit now. At some point, I will continue to play through 8 in VR because we promised people when we bought PSVR 2 that there would be big ladies in VR.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm a man of principles. So we will at very least get to Lady Dimitrescu in VR for you, the viewer. Probably not that soon, because, you know, we got a lot of Zelda to go through.
Yeah. There's a little tied up here.
A little tied up between that, some videos we have coming out soon, some other things we have coming out soon. Yeah, we're a little tied up. Aside from all that, though, I'm trying to think of anything else I wanted to say about Wind Waker HD, because I already got my master's thesis of the Nintendo made one of the best consoles of the 6th gen, and then went, holy shit, making shit on this is fucking hard. The HD version is not as good as everyone led you to believe.
That is so tragic.
It is. You think I had it expecting that?
Yeah, and I don't. They promised they fixed the Triforce quest, but that was still way too long and easily the worst part. So they didn't fix it at all. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, even if you took steps, you failed the assignment.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what else? Yeah, I think I covered everything I wanted to say, other than the vibes, the music, and other things about that game are really cool. Oh, I think the cutscenes are a little rough going back to them. I feel like Ocarina of Time actually had nicer looking cutscenes for a lot of it. Like, just from what the console was capable of on the N64 versus the GameCube.
Okay.
Because, like, towards the end, especially, like the Ganon cutscenes near the end, the content of them, ideally, like the words they are saying and what is happening, is really cool. But revisiting it, I wasn't prepared for how many times they cut out the need to animate a thing, or just we get the King of Red Lions posing, and
yeah, they don't seem to have animated the King of Red Lions at all.
Yeah,
like, he seems like his model cannot move.
He has the just sort of idle animation where he wiggles a bit. But yeah, it's I think my best closing comment is, I wish Wind Waker got turned that upside down Majora's Mask. The WW got its own because we needed another iteration. Ocarina of Time didn't need that. You know, that's a really done game. That's a really amazing game.
Right.
It's a really done game, Dan. Dan, one of the medals is just given to you. Dan, they cut content at all from that game.
I don't know how games work. I don't know that literally every game in human history has cut content. I don't know that the Nero shit in Devil May Cry 4 they wanted to put into 3.
Damn, they should have put it in a bad dungeon. Make me earn it.
Yeah, I really do wish we'd go back to, okay, we shipped our gigantic genre redefining super game. Now let's make another one with all the exact same assets that can be out in 2 years.
Well, here's the thing. Everything you said is still true about Tears of the Kingdom, except for the 2 years part.
Yeah, that's the crazy
Multiply
part.
that by 3.
Tears of the Kingdom seems to have a lot of new stuff, though. Like, a lot.
Yeah.
Including entire mechanics that I am legitimately stunned to work on the Switch.
I'm so excited for that. Just hearing, like, fun fact, I didn't watch that.
Oh no.
I just heard about it. I'm like, okay, I'm getting that game now. Like, it had enough energy of, no, they thought. Because I was like, you know, I don't want to say the word cynical, because I don't think it's a bad thing if they did this. I just think it would have not been for me. I thought it would have been a lot more iterative and a lot less inventive. So hearing the fusing system, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll get it. If you put that much thought in, this looks like it could be really different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna get Tears of the Kingdom. I'm gonna put on the fucking clown nose. Oh, which reminds me, we should deliver the end of the exciting arc. You remember? Was it 2? Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago on Big Think, I said something along the lines, or actually one. It was 1 week ago. We've been crunching hard on content, so it dilates time. 1 week ago on Big Think Dimension, I said, there's no way I'm getting Diablo 4 for $70 at launch unless my brother does something unhinged and airdrops me a copy. So guess what my brother did? He's like, what if I got it for you instead of it was for your birthday? I'm like, this seems more like your birthday, but sure, I'll play it then. I'm not going to spend $70 on it.
This is comeuppance for you forcing Handsome Joe to buy a GameCube.
Okay, he didn't even fucking finish that story. That's the worst part. I'm like, I'm going to walk away from the stream and Handsome Joe will finish his story where he says, I made him buy a GameCube. And then, no, he just left it there. He's like, I got a dub. Like, doesn't even fucking explain.
No, he doesn't need to. He's already won.
That's bullshit. He also tried to change. Okay, maybe what he said was correct, and I maybe said that Untold Legends was going to be a thing and we were all going to get it, maybe maybe I implied that or entertained that as a possibility before he bought it, and then everyone looked at it and went, "Nah, we're good."
Dan being put in the squad car as we speak.
Look, I'm gonna tell the Handsome Joe GameCube story. Okay, so there's a part of my life I referenced that shortly after high school where I'm trapped in the middle of a forest. I've done this numerous times on streams, but I've never really clarified. That's still not important, but the important thing to know is that I'm 40 miles from basically anything at this point. Anyways, birthday party, my place. People come up, we're hanging out. Handsome Joe, some reason, forgets his GameCube power cable. And I'm like, that's a shame. We were gonna play Smash Melee. That was gonna be awesome. And then we're like, well, you know, your home's a little bit further than this Walmart over here. What if you went to that Walmart, bought a GameCube? Keep in mind, I'm still a child. Bought a GameCube, and then just told them it didn't have a power supply. And then you just fucking returned it without the, you know, you could do that, or you could buy a, and then he just bought the GameCube. This was all pretty facetious until the moment he did it. Until the moment he went, okay, yeah, well, I'm gonna do that. This was all bullshitting, and so he does it. To this day, he's like, Dan made me buy a GameCube, an extra GameCube. And I'm just like, I was just saying some shit. There was no actual intention there, like there may have been allegedly with Untold Legends.
I think that was pretty. I think Joe's pretty right in that one.
I think a lesson was learned that day. Maybe don't show up to buy a console and then ask your friend flippantly, without doing any research of your own, hey, what game should I get? I think that's a pretty losing strategy, personally.
Is this how Charles Manson sounded in court? Like, I was just kidding. I don't know why anybody would listen to me. It was, I mean, I
I'm
think
sorry
you should
that
make...
I said you should get Killzone Shadowfall at the PS4's launch.
I was just goofing around about buying this GameCube. I didn't think you'd do it.
There's so much more value to Killzone Shadowfall if you're the only person who bought it than Untold Legends.
I'm just thinking of poor Handsome Joe with his side-by-side GameCubes. Now it's a game rectangle. That's not fun.
Yeah, that's kind of weird, a little bit. I'm trying to think of, like, what the fuck did he even do with the extra GameCube? He never tells me anything that happens past that night.
No.
Did he do the Walmart swap, the Walmart shuffle?
We did talk about the possibility of him doing that.
Yeah.
But I have no idea if he did. I doubt he did.
He's got a closet in his house that has that GameCube and a picture of you and a hunting knife.
Joe's shirtless and has scars all over him like Krauser from Resident Evil 4.
See, I'm just thinking of, like, Handsome Joe lives in the GameCube basement.
Man, how did we get to me airing my receipts for myself live? Anyway, hey, Bob.
Hey.
Did you have anything else you wanted to say about? I just want to stress, though, this isn't the GameCube's fault. Like, it's a content problem. It's Nintendo had a problem making content for the GameCube. I still think the GameCube is not only one of the best and most powerful systems that gen, but if it had a normal controller, probably could have maybe won. But when you make a controller like that and you aim yourself to be kid friendly, you really just tell everyone, hey, just so you know, you're not cool if you own one of these. Owning the PS2 was cool. It had Grand Theft Auto.
Right?
It is very strange that they started to slide, you know, in the 16-bit era when Sega started hitting them on the Nintendo isn't cool, we're cool thing. And then they made the Fisher-Price console.
Yeah. Pretty weird.
And then made it again with the Wii, and then made it again with the Wii U. And the Switch is like the first cool Nintendo console since the Super Nintendo.
You know, and if we just ignore the portables entirely, right? Because the DS is cool, especially the DS Lite. The DS Lite was top of the world. But ignoring that for a moment, okay? The Switch OLED is like the first time since, well, maybe ever, Nintendo made a thing that felt really tight and felt and awesome. Because, like, I only used a Switch OLED for the first time last year when I bought Tosh one. That thing just feels way more premium. It feels like an iPhone as a console, where it's just compact and sturdy and rigid and stuff. Like instead of the original Switch, which is kind of janky and clunky and not dense, and has giant bezels.
Yes.
Yeah. That thing's real cool. So maybe the Switch 2 will continue the Switch OLED's legacy and be the first truly chic Nintendo thing since the DS Lite and DSi.
Yeah, hopefully that happens. I don't break down and buy the Zelda the Zelda Switch OLED.
It looks so cool.
Yeah, it does. The worst
I
part.
don't need it.
The worst part is I spent the last year or so being like, there's a lot of value in getting a console at the end of its life. You know, it's not going to die shortly thereafter, and then we'll have something to play these games on years from now. And so my
Why
brain,
are you fucking George Bailey?
because I'm going to take my bank account and lasso it around the moon and lose all my money buying Switches. Help me balance my spreadsheet. Anyway. I spent the last year basically fucking myself up for this moment where I too look at the Switch OLED Zelda edition and I'm just like, oh my God, I would love to spend the rest of time playing Switch games on that.
I guess I got one last thing to say about Wind Waker.
Okay.
I was really surprised that there's like 3 dungeons. They're based around moving a character around with Link. Like
Yeah.
you're in there with another character.
Well, the basic way to shorthand that is it's basically the Jabu Jabu thing.
yeah, it's
3.
the Jabba thing 3 times. Or two times for real, and then a third one that's weird and was a statue and not a person.
Yeah. And every time you want to move them, you have to play a song.
Yeah.
So anyways, my expectations for Twilight Princess are pretty high.
Yeah, I really love the art style of Wind Waker. I wish that game were better.
I would even replay that game if you remove the Triforce quest and let me play on a GameCube. We both talked about we like the Swift Sail. We don't like the fact that hijacks the wind.
Yeah, no, that sucks.
At that point, I'm not the Wind Waker.
No.
And neither is the wand. Anyway, I think we're good.
Yeah.
We move on. We will now open the floor for the shortest what we've been playing segment. Let me just type this in. Hey guys. 3 of us on this podcast played Resident Evil 4 remake. We can talk about it for 80 seconds each. All other thoughts will have to wait. Can I roll this past 60? Oh, you fool. I want my phone's timer to work like a microwave. And if I want a minute and a half, all I have to hit is 90. I don't want to come in here and have to turn the minute thing and the second thing. That's too much work.
I'm sorry.
Why am I done? Not Jimmy Stewart.
I don't
Anyways,
know what's happening.
80 seconds is all we get. Bob, are you ready?
Sure.
3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, RE4 remake's really cool. I can't believe they did so well with this. It's really nice to have a Resident Evil action game again after, what, a decade? It's been so long since RE6, and even that one was highly flawed. In everyone's sense has been like, oh man, this is sure cool. This is sure like those like a reimagining of what a horror game can be again. But it's not what I want.
To you, what differentiates this from 3?
I can shoot them in the face and then kick them in the face.
Oh, that's crazy. They let you do that in that game?
Woefully missing from 3.
Yeah.
They should have just made the best version of 3 ever and had that in there.
Damn, Chill's a badass.
Yes.
Why did they ever send anyone else? You have 25 more seconds.
I'm good though.
Oh, you're done. Oh.
I think
Okay.
that gets across my feelings on it.
Chris, are you ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, go.
I didn't know this video game could suck you off, but RE4 remake did. I am stunned at how well they identified all the aspects which make RE4 great to play from like the way I play it. I didn't expect them to know the way I played it like a lunatic and cater to me, except for one thing. If you upgrade a weapon's capacity, it doesn't refill your ammo anymore. That's bullshit. That's dog shit. It is literally the only issue I have with this game at all.
Why did this man craft bullets into my chamber?
But even that is understanding, because if they just gave you 40 for your magnum rounds, it would be insane.
Oh, yeah. Because the capacity on the Killer 7 goes up to 15.
Yeah, it'd be ridiculous. I now have something to weave in playthroughs of normal Resident Evil 4 with. It's embarrassing. Dead Space Remake is $70 and this was $60. They should feel bad.
Ooh. You have 20 more
That's
seconds if you want it.
The biggest bag fumblers in the world.
Yeah,
Motive games are masters of not getting hose.
Hey,
Okay, I'm done.
hey, at least they got their remake out ahead of time. It would have been even worse if that came out after. That would have been terrible. Okay, let me go ahead and I'm also, and I get to recycle this later, so no one complain if you hear this from me more than once. 80 seconds. 3, 2, 1. So there's a bit in Mr. Show where they have Bob Odenkirk hooked up to a lie detector, and they just keep asking him questions, and he keeps admitting to deranged things. And at one point, they go, "You ever smoke crack?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he doesn't think anything of it. And they're like, "Holy crap, this guy's insane. How was it? Was it good?" They're like, "You don't have to answer that. I mean, you can if you want." And then he goes, "Yeah, it's real great. Gets you high." That's Resident Evil 4 remake for me, where it's just like, yeah, it's great. It's amazing. Like, what kind of question is this? I don't have any astounding statements to make here. It's Resident Evil 4, but looks immaculate, and it's better than ever. Like, it feels felt to move around and do stuff in. The upgrading feels awesome. The cutscenes are unreal. It is really great. There is only one major shortcoming, which I will talk about at a later date. This game is fucking exceptional. Yeah. I not too many games have come around twice to redefine a genre. And it feels like Resident Evil 4 got to do it twice. I'm looking forward to the fallout during Deep 9th Gen when everyone goes, "We need to make that somehow." And time. There we go. That's our Resident Evil 4 segment. So I hope you enjoyed that. Now we have to move on. That's all me and Bob played, though.
Yeah, we played a tiny bit of Diablo 4 because your brother made us, basically.
Yeah, I played the Druid. It is also better than the Barbarian. Everything is better than the Barbarian. The Barbarian is so bad.
Yeah, he's like the most laughably worse version of every other class.
Yeah, and he's like a support class almost, which makes no sense.
Which Steve was trying to use him like that, and the spells wouldn't work. Like,
oh, yeah, they did stop. Yeah, he's like, I yelled, "Why aren't you guys getting healed?" And I'm like, I don't know what you're the one yelling. You tell me why I'm not getting healed, Steve. Apparently that was because we were not in battle. The prior battle we were in concluded, so the barbarian's yell that heals people did not work.
What a smart game.
Yeah, I'm never touching barbarian when I play that game. I played 4 classes and it's the worst one by a landslide. It's not even close. Yeah. Anyway, that's it. We're moving on. Hey, Chris, what you been playing?
I played Shovel Knight Dig a bunch. That game's neat. It makes me viscerally upset that it exists and it isn't just Super Shovel Knight.
I agree. It looks amazing.
It looks amazing. It has all the same shit as a Super Shovel Knight, but it's this roguelike for no reason.
Yeah, I think I talked about it, but maybe I didn't. I played that checking if it would show up on my Game of the Year list. I was like, oh, this is neat. I literally want to play this on anything other than a fucking phone.
So yeah, I bought it on PC.
Right?
Do you move like a regular Shovel Knight game, or do you?
Yes, it controls exactly like a Shovel Knight game.
Yeah, just imagine a Shovel Knight game that's down well, and you're done.
All this images made me think it was going to be some weird like panel-based puzzle thing.
No, there's a little bit of that, but only in the sense of the original game. And I'm not even sure this spin-off thing worked out for them financially. I feel like if they had just made a Super Shovel Knight, even with the mobile dev they partnered with doing the same amount of work, because this game has bosses, it has sub weapons, it has level gimmicks, it has all the exact same shit that would be in a Super Shovel Knight. It's just this roguelike for no reason. I don't even think it worked out better for them financially. So
Yeah.
I like, it's the most baffled I've ever been at a project. Where I'm like, this is good. It exists instead of something that would be better that would have all the same parts.
I assume it really was the success of Downwell that sold them and other people on making their own Downwell. I mean, that's why the Downwell devs made
Point B.
Thank you. I was going to feel
Upwell.
Upwell. Down good. Down
And the really-
swell.
And the really weird part is like, it feels like the roguelike elements are barely there.
Weird.
Yeah, this
Like-
game
There isn't the, like, you can't get the loan.
up doc. Chad.
Like,
I'm
your
down bad for
core,
up dog.
Oh, there it is.
your core abilities are pretty much what you're going to be using the whole time. So it's get good at platforming, get good at, because it's not even really structured like Downwell, where it's more structured like, okay, go back and forth, left and right, doing little platforming challenges like a Shovel Knight game.
Yeah.
Just a very strange project.
Yeah, those assets look incredible too. Like, just to be clear, Yacht Club, who I know is listening to this, just go make Super Shovel Knight with these fucking assets. No one will complain.
Yeah, I have to wonder
Yeah,
how
the
far we off
existence-
from their other game that they kickstarted.
Mina the Hollower.
Yeah, Mina Hollower.
How would we
Yeah,
know
they
it's a
definitely-
Kickstart?
right?
project.
Well, they
Allegedly this
definitely-
year.
They definitely didn't need the Kickstarter money. That was 100% a get things, and maybe we'll get even more money from some publisher.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to assume it was probably pretty far along development before they even did that.
Did any information come out saying they were working with a publisher? Because let's be real, Yacht Club has so much money, they're probably good to publish it themselves and get better margins.
I mean, they publish other people's games now.
Right, that's
So-
what I'm saying. Like, they probably didn't
Okay, they're
need it for that.
self-publishing, so it was probably just, okay, fans, you can get like a stuffed Mina or your character in the game or whatever.
Yeah,
because
the
people
show-
did like that.
The Shovel Knight people handled it well. We finally got something promised 8 years ago on the Kickstarter for Bloodstained, where Iga would play games with high-level backers. We got that stream in the last week. And I'm like, yeah, he's never doing this again.
Yeah.
There's no way this man's going to do another Kickstarter when they got around to this 8 years later. Yeah. I feel really bad.
Yeah,
that-
he has to. There must be so many things with Bloodstain's bizarre development that Iga regrets, like the Child of Light collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
and Inti.
Yeah, and having to kick Inti off the game like after a year of development.
year of development, year and a half. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I played one thing other than Shovel Knight Dig.
Hmm.
I played exactly 5 hours of Agents of Mayhem. If you don't know what Agents of Mayhem is, which is fucking understandable, Agents of Mayhem is the game that Volition made between Saints Row 4 and the Saints Row reboot. It was pitched as a parody, not really a parody, but like a take on the Saturday. It was G.I. Joe versus Cobra is explicitly what it's supposed to be.
Hmm.
You are the Agents of Mayhem. You fight against the Evil Legion. They have their own like Cobra-esque characters, and you have your own G.I. Joe-esque characters. You know how we will often talk about how a game runs out?
I feel like we've even done that already this podcast.
Right?
This is the first time a game didn't have anything. I opened the chip bag and it was nothing but air.
They pushed the car downhill and then threw it in neutral.
That's what I felt when I played it for like 20 minutes when I checked it out for my job
Yeah.
years ago when it came out. But I was like, no, maybe I'm missing something. But now we have expert.
No.
Yeah.
Within the first 20 minutes, you've experienced every type of gameplay Agents of Mayhem has.
And I couldn't remember any of it.
Uh-huh.
That game opens inside a budget dimension that most of the game takes place in.
Oof.
So here's the like red flag from the start. It starts with like, I guess it's supposed to be like the Saturday morning cartoon opening, but they didn't have a song. Like there was no vocal Agents of Mayhem song, which is the first fucking thing you'd expect on the presentation front.
Okay.
Instead, it's just like vaguely or like it's like they MCU soundtracked it.
Come on. That does whatever.
And this game has real tonal problems in general. Like they can't decide what the game is supposed to be because they're not funny.
Wait, they're not trying to be funny?
No, they're trying to be funny.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sometimes, but a lot of the animated cutscenes don't have jokes in them. It's like, I don't know, you can't drop this shit after the Venture Brothers existed for so long. Cause it just humiliates you on every conceivable level. Cause it's going for the more adult thing where it's like, okay, this dude's a sex symbol, they say fuck constantly. But it doesn't have any like actual funny parts at all, like the Venture Brothers, or even tries to like capture that kind of energy.
Yeah, I feel like Volition is one of the studios least capable of making a meditative piece like Venture Brothers.
So here's Agents of Mayhem's gameplay loop. You pick 3 agents. You can swap between them at any time. They have a gun, which is unique to them. They have a cooldown ability that's on R1. And they have a mayhem ability when you fill a meter that you hit L1 and R1, and it's an ult. It's like an Overwatch ult.
Yeah.
And that's it. And you get 3 of those characters, and that's your lot. Every gun feels bad. It does a thing that I thought I've never seen a video game do ever, which is like the guns have a range, and outside that range, the projectiles just vanish.
Not bullet
There's
drop.
no bullet
Good.
drop. Bullet drops
There's
too
not
hard.
Like there's a character, one of the opening characters who is just Demo Man from TF2, but like larger. He has a shotgun. That shotgun has a range of 5 feet.
That's really
Like
fucked up.
The amount of times where I was forced to use him, I swapped them all the originals out as soon as I could. The amount of times it's like I pulled the trigger, I was one step too far, so the bullet ceased to exist.
Wrong.
So
Incorrect.
your description, Chris, has made me think one thing, and it's a dangerous idea. I need to know who wins in this battle of the Titans. Agents of Mayhem or Insomniac's Fuse?
Fuse. Obviously.
Yeah, it's going to be Fuse. This is worse significantly in every department than the Saints Row reboot. It's worse than Forspoken.
Can't believe I was here to witness Fuse's biggest W.
The best way I would describe it is like, imagine if Sunset Overdrive had nothing. Nothing. You didn't have anything that you would like when you I'm sure you're thinking of Sunset Overdrive because you played that and thinking of things in it.
Yeah.
Imagine if none of those things were in it.
I'm trying to debone a mostly boneless chicken wing in my brain.
So it's my impression that Agents of Mayhem is an open world. Is there anything in it?
Actually,
No.
follow-up question.
No.
Is it an open world?
Yes.
Okay.
So the development of this game was
this
insane.
game is. I literally I was so upset that I didn't realize Chris went live.
Here's the format of this game. You have the open world. It's Seoul and it's Overwatch Seoul, like Seoul, South Korea. It's Overwatch style Seoul, South Korea.
All right.
Every character has a triple jump to help you get around. You can also drive cars. Every car feels bad. And most of the time you don't want to drive because there's like collectibles throughout the city, so it's easier to fucking run and jump. The city's also not very big. So you go into your menu mission, you select do a mission, then you go to a place, you fight a wave of guys, you do a hacking mini game, then you fight a wave of guys, then you do a hacking mini game, then you fight a wave of guys, Then you go into the budget dimension and fight a bunch of guys and do a hacking mini game, and then you leave, and that's a mission. That's every single mission in Agents of Mayhem. And sometimes they decide, well, we're gonna have a boss fight. It's a guy standing on a floating platform who summons ads, and when you kill the ads, you can take down his shield and shoot him a little bit, and then he puts the shield back up and summons ads.
Fresh.
Making Matt Hazard look good over here.
Yeah, actually.
I paid $10 for 2 DLC packs, so I could play as Johnny Gat, and so I could play as Kenzie Kensington, who is another Saints Row character. Because I'm like, we're only gonna play Saints Row characters. I will not play as any of their original characters, except for the parts where it forces you. I'm trying to look. I'm like, it's a target-rich environment. There's so many things where I could talk about.
Give me, without saying it's G.I. Joe, give me like more specifics about the plot. What is your goal? What is happening?
Okay, so there's the evil organization called Legion, and this is only what I had to go to the wiki to learn a bunch of this because they don't drip feed you this shit at all. There's an evil organization called Legion.
Mm-hmm.
Like 3 years ago, I guess it was, or maybe it was only one, I'm not sure. A thing happened called the Devil's Night, where Legion used their teleporter technology to effectively teleport a big chunk of their armies into every major city on Earth.
Okay.
And they basically destroyed global society.
All right.
Like they destroyed global infrastructure and shit. But people rebuilt. So one of their commanders quit and formed Mayhem to stop them. And some of the characters in Agents of Mayhem that are not Saints Row characters are Hollywood. He's Johnny Cage.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Or Fortune. She's Tracer. And I don't just mean like, I mean like appearance and abilities and temperament. She's Tracer. And there's Rama, who is just a lady with a bow. There's a really weird element to Rama because she's a immunologist who joined Mayhem to get a cure for this plague that Legion unleashed in Mumbai. But her ult is infecting her arrows with the plague.
What?
Which feels not right. And right before I quit, I got to what I presumed was them starting to drip feed me important lore, where you play as a mysterious lady ninja named Scheherazade, who has to seal cracks in reality with her magic amulet. But I quit before I could find out any of that. Okay. So this game was originally supposed to have 100 different agents in 3 cities.
Whoa.
It was supposed to take place in Monaco, Seoul, and Moscow. But they cut the other 2 cities and most of the characters and expanded Seoul a little bit. Apparently all during this game's development, Volition's leadership was just lying through their teeth to Deep Silver. It was like, we have this feature, it's done, and then the development team didn't even know that feature was supposed to exist. So Deep Silver found that out and it's like, you staple what the fuck you have together and ship.
Yeah. Ooh. Man.
Like this was blatantly we know this is a turd. We know and like I can't even blame the publisher because apparently this is just Volition's thing, where they'll just be like, yeah, we'll take AAA money to make a AAA game with our tiny studio. Oops, we shit our pants and lost all your money.
Man, I bet that moment when they realized they had been lied to, that those features weren't in the game at all, I bet that had them feeling like an anime fan on prom night.
Deep Silver was also apparently bizarrely unreasonable, where it's like, why don't your cars look as good as Forza cars?
Oh, that's the brain.
Why don't your models look as good as the models in GTA 5? Which I can apparently they were shelling out big fucking money for this game, and they were understandably like, why doesn't this AAA game we're paying AAA money for look like a AAA game?
They're like, why doesn't everything in this game look like everything from these highly focused AAA games that do all this other stuff? Well, probably you're not going to have cars that look as good as the car game.
So apparently the reason Johnny Gat is in this game is that at some point they were in talks to make it a PS4 exclusive. And Sony said, we fucking want Johnny Gat in this game.
Smart move.
That is... That's really good. All right. That's really fucking good. One of the only smart decisions in this game is Sony showing up to be like, you want to market this at all? Fucking get this man in here. We need that.
The marketing for this game was dire. Like, nobody knew what this game was until like ever before it came out.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and I think they like released one tiny little marketing tease for it. Then Overwatch came out. And all of a sudden their entire marketing cycle was fucked. Because it's like, how do we market this game that's supposed to be like a single player take on this now that Overwatch is out?
Okay, that's what I thought. Mighty Number 9 comes out first from Deep Silver, and then the next year they release Agents of Mayhem. Because they're the publisher on Mighty Number 9. I was like, the marketing sucked? No way. And literally reference really terrible Deep Silver marketing already.
Apparently everything in this game I would call content. Deep Silver mandated they put in after the lies got exposed. So I have no idea what this game was originally going to be at all. It's like, yeah, there's missions where you play as one single agent to recruit them, and they talk a bunch and give you their deal. Deep Silver mandated those. And you go into the budget dimension to fight guys and deal with the antagonists. Deep Silver mandated those. So I have no idea what this game was originally going to be at all. It seemed like they just had the most unbelievably ambitious scope ever and no ability whatsoever to execute.
Right, because like, what are you talking about? You're going to have 3 giant open world cities and 100 characters. Even half of that would be infeasible. 1.5 cities and 50 characters. Hey, Dan, what's half a city? Niceville.
Understandably, every single thing in this game feels bad. None of the guns feel good, not a single one. None of the ults feel good, not a single one. They also include they also have like Destiny brain rot, where it's like this character's ability, if you attach this gadget, will give them a stack of fortify. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? You didn't explain. I'm not gonna go into some fucking truncated, like some deep menu to learn these terms you're using.
Well, I mean, there's so many characters they couldn't spell it out for each one,
and that would be a lot of writing.
They could do a tutorial where they explain these Magic the Gathering-esque terms to me.
Hollywood gets trampled.
Jesus.
God.
Rama gets first strike with her plague, and I'm like, that makes her a terrorist. We're all hearing that, right?
They have a quest where you have to not a quest, a fucking mission where you have to play as Daisy, who is a 6'8" built like a brick shithouse lady who's in the roller derby. And she uses a minigun, which nice fucking character after Zarya came out, assholes.
This would have been about the same time.
A year after.
Yeah, look, buff lady, big lady is popular. That's evergreen.
She is like the worst, most annoying Reddit guy version of a butch lady I've ever seen in anything. Where it's like, I drink and swear and fit into fights. I'm like, could you fucking write something? No.
I'm fucking big and buff. Okay, that's cool. And since those attributes are attributed normally to men, I'm just one of the fellas. No, it's okay. You could just be a character who isn't. No, please stop.
This looks awful.
Oh, has he posted a picture?
No, I looked it up myself.
What was the name of the character again?
Daisy.
Oh yeah, Daisy. Let me just look through saved you clicks likes. That'll get me to Daisy picks really fast.
Yeah, I would say this. Multiple people were like, yeah, this game's below Battleborn, and I believe them.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Like Battleborn
I'm
at least has
willing
some
to bet it-
idea.
Yeah, I don't. I think it's already shut down, so I don't think anybody can play it anymore. But I'm willing to bet Bleeding Edge was better than this. From a game feel level.
Isn't Bleeding Edge still going? And the
I'm fucking. Oh.
yeah, I think so. Battleborn almost certainly isn't.
No, Battleborn's shut down. You cannot play Battleborn correctly. Let's see. I'm checking Wikipedia because, of course, they would say, man, there are a lot of things on Wikipedia called Bleeding Edge. They only say that it ended development. They didn't say that the servers are going down. So you can still play Bleeding Edge. You can still play the 6.5 out of 10 from Destructoid Bleeding Edge. That's generous.
It is.
People got to stop being that generous to multiplayer games with no good ideas.
So, Agents of Mayhem sitting around like a 70 on Metacritic.
Right. So it's
insane.
punching higher.
Yeah,
that seems wrong.
Agents of Mayhem should be at like a 30.
Yeah, that
Especially since it apparently shipped totally broken.
God.
I also don't think it ever got to PC.
I was looking up Fuse and it never got to PC.
So one final anecdote about Agents of Mayhem before I can leave. We can fucking leave. So Scheherazade Scheherazade is a melee character.
Okay.
You press the trigger and she swings her sword.
Uh-huh.
She has teleport strike, where she throws her weapon at somebody and then teleports it to it.
Mhm.
It takes so fucking long for the weapon to get to the enemy that multiple times I
God
threw
damn it.
they moved somewhere else, and then she teleported there after they had gone.
oh wow.
Also, you have to be targeting an enemy to use it, so you can't use it for traversal at all.
Oh.
If I have an ability to blink and teleport to my weapon I've thrown, my melee weapon that I've thrown, I better throw that thing with the force and speed of fucking Pyramid Head in the first Silent Hill movie when he throws the skin at the door.
It better be like
the sound
your
I want to
Thor
hear
throwing
when the
Mjolnir.
I just want it to sound like a whole room full of air imploded when I hit the fucking thing. I don't want it to have the possibility of missing.
One last thing, when you go back to the hub,
Mm-hmm.
it does a like the more you know G.I. Joe thing, but they're all really not funny.
Of course.
God, no.
That sort of thing is hard.
Right.
You need good writers.
It is hard. It's all shit like violence doesn't solve every problem, but it does solve most of them. Agents of Mayhem.
You ever notice Chris is like the inverse Steve Jobs? He says one more thing and it's evil. It's like one more thing, it gets worse. It's like if they ended the Apple conference every time with "There's no headphone jack."
Now I'm gonna rank all the Volition games I played this year. Saints Row 2's at the top. Then Saints Row 1 is a little bit below that.
Mm-hmm.
Then Get Out of Hell. Then Saints Row 4. Then a gigantic power gap. Then Saints Row 3. Then the Saints Row reboot. Then another power gap. Then Agents of Mayhem.
I need you to play Red Faction, like any of them now. Okay, I lied. Not any of them.
I played the original Red Faction.
Play any of them other than 2 this year and then put it in this list.
Okay, I'll do that. Oh, also, I was like, I can't wait to play a game that has music again. Agents of Mayhem has no music.
Yeah, of course not.
Yeah, that's awful. By the way, Agents of Mayhem is on PC. I looked that up.
Cool.
But that's all you've been playing, right, Chris?
Yep.
Okay, well. Bye. He said he was leaving. Hey, Agro, what you been playing?
Oh no! I'm back! I'm back!
You've been playing video games, Agro? They might start with O and end with H or 2.
I mean, I've been playing video games.
You play video game?
The bit that I got to play this week, yes, I continue to fall into the hole of Octopath Traveler 2. A game that is mostly 3D with textures that make it look all pixely, which is really cool until they shift one of those objects in 3D. And it's the first time they've done it, and it's 30 hours into the game, and it looks weird as shit.
Huh.
Picking Oswald as my first character continues to pay dividends.
Cool.
Because you do those first 2 chapters up front, and then you go do everybody else's chapter 1 and 2, and he's just kind of hanging out. He doesn't say anything, and by the time you get back around to his chapter 3, you kind of forget what his deal is. So you've got all these diverse stories about, you know, achieving your dreams and working your way through problems, and then he walks into a quiet seaside town and just starts yelling, "I'll kill that son of a bitch!" Oh, right. Revenge for my family. That's what I was doing.
Maybe I should get on that.
I really chilled out for a bit there. I assume he was just smoking weed the whole time. That's why he was chilled the fuck out while everyone else dealt with their problems. And then he just sobered up just enough to erupt like a volcano. Right! Murder!
But yeah, basically this just continues to be an immaculate super JRPG.
Yeah.
Every little feature and nuance is delightful.
I sure need to find time to play that.
Yeah, I'm excited to have some time after we're done with Resident Evil to go back to that. But then there's also like freaking Skullgirls and put out a new character. Sifu put out a whole new game mode I need to play.
Yeah.
There's too many things.
And this is on top of us doing the most crunch we've done since Game of the Year.
Yeah.
And for me, at least, it is an equal amount of crunch.
Yeah. No, you got a lot to edit.
I got a lot to edit.
I do need to say, though, I believe Bob and I talked about this last week, but this game desperately needs the ability to choose which costume your character is wearing.
Yeah.
Because I subbed Hikari into Hunter to, you know, boost his number of weapons available, and they Final Fantasy 14 that guy. He is now a beautiful Catboy twink. And it's just like it's pastels and soft ears, and it's not bad, but it's I kind of miss my guy.
Put on the outfit. You have to hunt for the clan.
So wait, does the Hunter outfit literally give everyone cat ears?
I don't know if it's everyone, but it certainly did it to Hikari.
All right, where do you find it?
This is important. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about the immaculate super RPG Octopath Traveler 2?
I mean, I could go on for like 3 more hours, but no, I think we'll hold it here.
Okay, cool. That's all you played, right?
Yep.
And that means we're heading to Podlord. Podlord. Podlord.
Oh, fuck.
Podlord. 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 Yes, that's right. The Podlords. Podlords such as Ely Broyles, Ted Lasso Wen, and Blaze 27, Suzu Shiro, BN12, Shibuya Gato, who folded this baby.
Aww.
Thank you for sending cat pics. You have saved my life on this day. 101 Shades of Wonderful Remastered. WTF Spider-Man. PC and Bit Machine broke. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Mr. I lost 15 pounds eating HelloFresh and playing Pistol Whip VR and Synth Riders.
Great.
I've been wanting to play Pistol Whip. stupid other video games coming out. Actually, it's more of the back thing, but anyway. Final Fantasy XIV should not have given players a Tonberry outfit, which they can dye flesh colors for very obvious reasons.
Oh God, it looks like Luigi's nose from the bottom.
DFW 3K, which doesn't have a bit, but does have a picture of an adorable baby.
That's content value.
Muckbun, Shiny Mew, Kristen, Kyle Bjork. I'm too mentally fried for bits, so please continue to enjoy pictures of my children. Thank you.
Limbs are.
This is the most value-packed Podlords yet.
Iron Aggro, Blig de Blue, Schligda's Poo, Monster Hunter Ryzen and Raiden, me and RE4 Bear Trap.
Oh,
Yeah, those are sometimes hard to see.
what are they not painted yellow?
No, they're not. Shocking, I know. Cooper Tank. Jorl. No, wait. That's Jorl from The Last of Us.
That's Superman's dad, right?
Yes. And his wife, Eli. A double down a day keeps the silly dillo away.
No,
It
that's
also keeps heart
dangerous.
disease right there.
Yeah, I was like, at what cost, though? At a certain point, the silly dillo will stop being the problem.
They should cut you off from double downs if you come in more than once a week for one.
I want to pay a child to walk in, eat the double down at the counter, and just reenact the whitest kid you know butter bar thing.
Yeah.
Ow, my kid heart. And then he just lies down on the floor. Indigo Sykes, Drive Typecast. It is now morally correct to pirate Wii U and 3DS games. That's just true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. Sorry, everyone. Nintendo declared pirate law.
But Dan DeNuvo said that emulation is bad.
Yeah, they sure said some really dumb crap. We're getting into that, though. Evil Lucario, a raccoon that is still in your clothes drawer looking for stuff.
Get out of there, man.
Nothing in there but socks. Come on.
This is DPS Coon from the music video for Damage Per Second by Malzone from 2DX Coppola, which is a banger. By the way, I would like to note that this is a GIF. You can't embed GIFs this way, but it is a very good running animation.
Right.
It's exceptional.
Fantastic.
The Super
This is
Mim.
quality service.
The Super Mim. Tracy sketch a jump scare.
Ugh.
Sarlene. Timothy Pfister got to see the Torgal plush live! And also Yoshi P in the Final Fantasy 16 panel, but mainly the Torgal plush. I'm gonna be honest. There's a quality to that plush that just makes you go, that kind of looks like that Muppet, the puppet from the British show.
Oh my god.
Like Torgal there is just gonna look up and be like, we're just normal men. Bearded Joe, Pleochrome, Krungle Spum,
Torkel's selling new tea for men only.
Man Tea,
Yes.
or kills women. What? Look at this post dog grooming photo. It gave me a chuckle. Dude, that dog's been working out.
Wow. That is round.
That dog's gonna stand on its hind two legs and open the door for you.
He's bulging with what could be floof.
Now there's two of us in the universe. Can't have that.
Oh no!
That was
Imagine
an
if
entire
that's
arc.
how Spider-Verse 2 goes.
reading City Hunter, and finding out Ryo Saeba gets a huge boner towards women as a reoccurring joke was not on my bingo sheet.
That's like the first thing I found out about City Hunter.
Right?
You did your research. It's just an apple bunny. The anime is Bofuri, or I don't want to get hurt, so I'll max out my defense and... CIA? No, the FTC is crashing this acquisition with no survivors. He'll get to keep his loot, but I stole the golden parachute. Thank you very much to our podlords.
Thank you, Podlords.
Thank you,
Thank you,
podlords.
Podlord.
Thank you, Podlords.
Wow, that's fast.
And if you'd like to become a Podlord, you go to our Patreon at patreon.com/gbpodcasts. For as little as $5 a month, you get access to many benefits such as early access to Chugging, Bleach, and Pokemon Go to the Movies, our 2 anime review podcasts. You also get extended content for other shit we do when there is indeed extra shit for you to get. And you get a Patreon exclusive show one a month where you get to vote on what good or bad thing we have to watch and then talk about. And if it's a bad thing, you get a commentary track, and we never release those publicly. So you get you have like 80 commentary tracks waiting for movies you will never ever want to watch. You also get a movie, Isolation 119, a fantastic movie about a man getting a tax write-off. That is patreon.com/gbpodcast. If you don't have any money, it always helps us immensely to tell your friends. Rate us on Thursdays before Twitch removes that feature. Rate us on your podcast app of choice, or like this video on YouTube right now.
Right now, please.
Thank you very much. That is patreon.com/gbpodcast.
We have news. Gentlemen, E3 is dead.
I feel like we've been here before. Have we been here before?
We've been here before. I'm pretty sure this is the active and enemy stand. Bob, what do you think?
It feels like this comes around once a year.
It's like Christmas.
Yeah, we attend their funeral once a year at least.
I'm gonna put an exclamation mark this time just to be like, no, they said it. They admitted it this time. Well, I'm putting the exclamation mark. All the other times that had a question mark.
I mean, they still say it's going to be back next year. They're excited to be way better.
This year, at bare minimum, E3 is dead.
Right.
I don't care if Lord Dracula's gonna resurrect next year. For now, the fucker's dead. And that's all that matters. Focus on the now. Because I don't buy that they're coming back.
Yeah, I know. It's a long shot.
Let's be real. Those motherfuckers probably got washed paying out the fees, because there's no way they didn't already pre-order the LA Convention Center 3 months in advance.
Yeah.
Less than 3 months in advance.
I feel
Maybe they
really
didn't,
bad.
and that's why it's canceled. It's like we were supposed to put up the money like right now, and we're not gonna. So goodbye.
Yeah, I feel really bad for all the companies that undoubtedly already made plans. Like those smaller guys that were going to go to E3 and have to pull out last second here after they've already bought tickets and whatnot.
Which end of smaller guys? Are we talking journalists or?
No, development companies.
Okay.
The journalist companies, those things are already doomed anyway.
I feel like the game developers would probably be in talks with E3 if they had to go there to exhibit.
Right. I don't know. It's unclear how much they knew before this.
Apparently, some people aren't happy because this was basically partnered with the head of Reed Pop leaving.
Oh, I did not hear about that.
Reed Pop?
Yeah,
There's the guys who put on PAX.
Yeah, and who were doing this E3. They also put on New York Comic Con.
Mm-hmm.
They also own Rock Paper Shotgun, which maybe they should shut down. Not related to anything specific to this conversation. Just do it.
That's really funny.
Yeah, that's why this series felt like E3 was a surefire to come back, because it was like, well, it's done by guys who run conventions like frequently.
Hey, Aggro.
Yes.
That guy at Penny Arcade who's the business wizard that made them into Penny Arcade. Was that guy's name Robert Koo, or is that someone else?
I think that was Robert Koo, yeah.
Okay, so what we're saying is E3 needs to be saved by Robert Koo. Because PAX is his invention. That motherfucker really did put Penny Arcade on the goddamn map.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just say, without the power of Robert Koo and his wizardry, Penny Arcade would be Mac Hall.
Ugh.
Yeah, he turned a brand into an empire.
Yeah, that man's amazing. You know those stupid fucking tweets that's like, you could take $1 million or have a dinner with blank. Which do you do? I would actually, the only person in the world I would take the dinner with is fucking Robert Q. Everyone else is like, fuck you, $1 million. Robert
that's
Q.
still a mistake, Dan, because he would say you should have taken $1 million.
No, see, I'm going to drug him. This is why I'm going to the dinner. I'm going to kidnap Robert Q and say, look, you can get out of my cellar when I make $10 million.
Okay, so no, see, if crime's on the table, then when that guy offers you the choice, you kill him and take the $1 million to the dinner with Robert Koo.
Right. Guess how I got to this dinner?
I have $1 million in seed money and no morals. Please work with me.
Robert Koo's like, I'm so tired of hearing this. Oh, man. For the record, technically speaking, ignoring social contracts and laws, crime's always on the table, which is why we're better for turning it down. Anytime, anywhere, anything that's happening, crime is on the table, and we're all really great for just going, no, I think I should order the food instead of randomly assaulting a person who asked me what my order was. We're all just so good, like us Floridians. We're such good people for not constantly turning into Florida man on a moment's notice.
You're down to Wendy's, punching the dude out and taking whatever is on the back counter.
I'm like, yeah, I'll take the biggie bag for $5, and they go, which one? And I'm like, not today. Don't make me decide. I need to know. They took a good thing with the 4 for $4 and completely fucked it up because now there are 2 other tiers. Did you know this?
I've heard about this.
There's a $5 bag and there is a $6 bag. There are 3 fucking tiers of these bagged menus. Meanwhile, McDonald's is like, hey, are you poor? We have these 3 deals. And I'm like, okay, sure. Yeah, I'll get the McDouble small deal or whatever. And they're like, okay, great. That's really affordable. It's only $3.20. You get a McDouble and a small fry. And I'm like, awesome. They're like, you want a drink? And I'm like, yeah, large Diet Coke. They're like, that's $2.30. I'm like, wait a minute. There's not even real calories in that. Why is this fucking $2.30? And it's like, oh, because of the specific McDonald's we go to. Anyways, E3's dead. That's really what all this was about. Robert Koo should take over the ESA. He's like, okay, first thing we're doing is blacklisting
apparently, like Reed Pop wasn't effectively communicating to any of their partners, so I have no fucking idea what was going on there.
Yeah, it's worth noting they sold PAX to that organization,
right?
So that they're not like the people who made PAX the thing.
No, but they're the people who ran it for the last few years. So
and they run New York Comic Con. They run New York Comic Con. That is not a small event,
right?
No, I'm not saying these are nobodies, but I'm just saying they aren't. I don't know if they didn't also buy New York Comic Con at some point. They are not inventors of good ideas. They're necessarily people who carry on the tide. So coming into E3, you can see how they would fuck that up.
Right. Yeah, is them having to do basically a brand new thing because old E3 is not something that they want to make. Like nobody seems to want that.
At a communication level, I feel like the ESA has just been really confusing on whether or not they're making old E3, new E3, how new E3, because they did that before and it didn't go well.
Right.
And they were like, this time will be different. You asked them how, and they just sort of ducked back into the sewer.
Well, this last time was like, we got these guys. They'll do it. They'll make it new for us. And it was like...
Yeah, that worked great.
Then they're like, where'd everybody go?
So what you're saying is it can come back next year because this year was all that guy's fault. And he's gone now and everything's better.
Not saying that.
Chad, did this man not just say... He totally said that. I just, real quick, I've seen a lot of people already who are like, good, E3 should die. E3 is literally
so stupid.
Well, they don't understand. They don't understand that E3 is like not only exciting new news town with trailers for games and stuff like that. It's basically as an additional and parallel layer that doesn't intersect necessarily, like in and of itself, but within you, it might. It is basically, or was basically, the Super Bowl of gaming where all the big players come out and show their hand.
Right.
but it just lost that energy over time. But shutting it all down entirely, that only makes it even worse. Like, I want Sony to go back to E3, and I want these people to all show up at the same day and show their hands. Because the worst thing in the world is the current situation we've been in, where we had to go, hey, Sony, what's coming out next year? And they go, we're not going to show you any of Spider-Man 2. It comes out in 6 months. Show your fucking hand, asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really great to have this consolidated event.
Mm-hmm.
And then we always hear from industry guys like, no, it was great for us because we actually be able to meet other people in the industry and make deals.
I'm going to try to stop bringing them up, but I have to in reference to this fucking comment. Jeff Gerstmann for a decade was just like, we need to shut down E3. There's no point to it. And then every developer friend he knows is just like, no, the point is we make deals with publishers and stuff at E3. E3 is important for us, asshole.
Yeah, it's important from the networking angle. And I saw a lot of people say, well, there's no point anymore because everybody knows that they can just get their own attention if they do their own event. And I'm like, unless you're Nintendo, Microsoft, or Sony, no, you can't. Or Capcom, or Square Enix, or... But like like there's a lot of indies who are gonna like if some indie event happens in August, nobody's gonna give a shit.
Right.
Like that's not gonna get the attention it would get if it happened in E3 week.
Absolutely. Also,
like, would we crawl out of bed at 9 a.m. on a weekday for the wholesome direct in September? No.
Just so we're clear, don't do the Always Sunny theme and cutting to us doing that. Please don't. Don't do that.
If that happens, which it won't.
Yeah, I can't even crawl out of bed for 10 minutes of Tears of the Kingdom. Why in the world would I? Hey, Dan, wake up hours earlier so that way you can hear about these witch farming games. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I want to make a rant here, though, not just about establishing that that's an important thing for people in the industry, and as viewers, spectators of the industry, also important. There's another layer to this where this is a part of the last 15 years of the power of advertising. Like, they want to pay places less and less and less to show things, right? Like websites, YouTube videos, everything else.
Yeah.
And they're also, these corporations, working to degrade institutions like E3 to remove that power and stuff. And then they turn around and go, it's really hard to market things. Well, yeah. As it turns out, when you erode the foundation of a thing, it's hard to prop up shit on it. There's more shit than ever now, and you're literally pulling down one of the biggest tent poles.
Yeah.
Unfettered capitalism eventually and always destroys itself. Details at 11.
I like seeing the Jeff Keighley tweet where he's like, yeah, I've been attending E3 since the first one. Here's a picture of me there at age 15. I saw a few years ago that they were not doing anything, and that's why I made this modern summer of gaming stuff.
Jeff Keighley sure went like R.I.P. Bozo, Summer of Gaming, now and forever. Like he went immediately to that.
And he's smart to do it. Like, why wouldn't you in that exact situation?
Right.
To Jeff Keighley, every day is Get the Bag Tuesday.
That dude did the Game Awards and Spike VGAs and stuff.
Right.
So he's the perfect guy to do this exact thing. He got to cut his teeth at the expense of Spike TV on their bill and at doing an E3 of sorts. So, yeah, absolutely. He's the guy to do it. He just had to change his religion.
A few times.
Could you imagine he's doing like the Peter Moore thing and he's coming out with a new tattoo every year? That would be fucking unreal.
I'm glad that's no longer a thing. That was so dumb.
I feel like my nostalgia for E3 is mostly in 7th gen. So I feel like dumb shit like the tattoo is absolutely necessary.
Yeah, I too miss the Attitude Era of E3.
Yeah, there was a certain feel to it that was horrible, but great.
I even like some of the tail end of Sony doing it until the very last one.
Yeah,
because that was terrible.
Okay, so 7th gen was the attitude era of gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Then 8th gen was the really corporate era of gaming.
It was the MCU of gaming.
Well, I'm thinking of like specifically in terms of the WWE.
Ruthless aggression.
Oh, okay. All right.
Which means where we are now is where everybody is openly doing crimes and falling apart. Which is true. Looking
Right,
at Ubisoft, Activision, EA.
Well, that's neat. Oh man. So I guess we're doing the summer of gaming again.
Yeehaw.
That exact thing. This is literally the last thing they wanted to have happen.
Right.
But hey, at least it will never be as bad as Summer of Gaming 2020. Of that, I am certain.
Yeah, I think that's taught a lot of people things about what they should not do.
Yeah.
Ever.
Not only that, the new consoles also meant that like everybody was playing their car, still wanted to have their 3-hour event, didn't actually want to talk about anything during it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was insane. I was trying to find a clip. I don't even remember which one, but I told you about this. I was trying to find a tweet I made. And in doing so and trying to search for this one, I found another one, which was me in August of 2020 going, I sure hope they tell me when the PS5 is coming out and how much it will cost soon.
Yeah, that sucked.
God, yeah, no, that got unhinged.
Idiotic.
I remember eventually every time PlayStation tweeted something, I was just in the replies. Date. Price.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was a fucking terrible year for getting any corporation to communicate anything, it felt like. And the Summer of Gaming was an absolute nightmare as it just extended out to infinity and had nothing to say. That's how it felt anyway. We should move on though, I feel. Fun fact. Hey Bob, you want to know a fun fact?
Yeah, what's up?
I like sprinkling fun facts into big thing. Here's a fun fact. I didn't open the news document until just now.
Cool.
I just wanted to go straight into E3, but let's go ahead and follow up with some of my stuff. Grasshopper manufacturer launched a 25th anniversary countdown site. I think that's exciting, and I hope they have something cool to show. Do I
They're
think
that old?
Do you hope that?
Yes.
Because it seems like every time one of these companies launches a countdown to an anniversary, it's an art book and fuck you.
I hope they have something to show. That doesn't mean I think they have something to show. See, the difference is in expectation. I expect them to show nothing. It would be cool if they announced something like, I don't know, No More Heroes 4. That weird remaster of their own game they have no hand in.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
Lollipop
fucking weird.
Chainsaw.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anything. Port No More Heroes 1 and 2 to modern systems that aren't named the Switch.
I think it's
Shadows of the Dam 2.
Yeah, true.
It's a countdown. And at the end of it, they're like, well, you can watch Char's counterattack with us.
Oh, dude, yes. I would be there.
Yeah, it did come out on Twitter that they have monthly showings of Char's counterattack.
That's so good.
Now that's what I call a healthy corporate culture.
Suda could have been like a mother to me. Moving on. Bloober Team had to make a giant they did a tweet image. You know, like when you have to apologize for some crime or some terrible, like, oh, the game wasn't real and we have to delay it another year. One of those images. But this one just goes, hey, you guys like translated what we fucking said in that interview wrong, allegedly. And we just wanted to say there are no sales expectations for this game that have been stated by our CEO or other staff. The Silent Hill remake is very exciting, but please do not do anything or say we did anything that might be legally concerning to our shareholders.
Yeah.
Please don't. Please,
Yes,
God.
it was reported as them saying they thought that game could sell 10 million copies, and what many people say they actually said, and I believe it because it was people other than them saying it was it was viewed as more a step towards making a game that sold that many copies.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, the specific thing they said was something along the lines of we like to think we have moved closer to being a company that could make a game that could sell that.
Okay.
which whatever, I
Right,
guess.
it means nothing in the long run.
I mean, if
Yeah,
I had,
I'm
if I
sorry.
had the juice of Sony publishing money, I too would start to feel that way.
I have a distinct feeling, Bluebird, that what you think is your like golden ladder is actually like the floor is gonna fall out from under you and you're gonna go straight down.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. You want my opinion? This isn't to say I'm optimistic and Chris is cynical. We're opposite ends of this discussion. But here's my thing. I bet Sony has a writer on this game. At least one. Just like they did with Returnal. I bet that there is a lot of oversight from Sony. I bet this will be easily Bloober's most medicated game they've ever made.
Mm-hmm.
Their most medicated game about mental illness.
Like,
and Sony money plus Sony marketing plus the legacy of Silent Hill 2. Doesn't matter if anyone's played it. Doesn't matter if the mechanics have aged like fucking milk. None of this matters. All that matters is legacy. Maybe it could. Maybe in 1 year it could sell 10 million.
Allegedly, like, people at Konami are real, like, they have people from Silent Hill 2 there who are like, we have a fucking taser. You step out of bounds and we're getting you.
Yeah, so this is literally, let me put it this way. Okay? I feel like Bloober Team making the Silent Hill 2 remake has even more oversight than Nintendo over Metroid Dread. Because they have two corporate overlords just breathing down their neck.
You'd like to think that, but at the same time, Sony was like, yeah, we'll really market Forspoken. No, we're not going to look at it. Like, why would we look at it?
No, I think Sony made a commitment early on to the notion of we need next-gen looking games, and you like go back and watch the fucking Forspoken first trailer. Like, that's what that company turned out. And Sony needed exclusives, and they bought in at that level. I don't think they had nearly as much oversight there, but maybe they did. And I think at some level, Sony's just like, we have to put our full weight into this, because we don't. They'll smell something in the air. They'll taste the blood in the water. They'll not buy the game. Because they spent 3 years throwing the punch, right?
Mm-hmm.
They spent almost 3 straight years being like, get ready for Forspoken, because they announced it in the middle of 2020 and it launched in February of 2023. They had to follow through even if nothing was there.
But I assume all these things, like, because it seems like Sony's really leaning into the PS2 was fucking cool. Remember all those things on the PS2?
Yeah.
Those probably do have a lot more oversight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this has Sony money for sure. I don't believe Konami, because all the deals we've ever heard, every leak about this and the other projects going on, is that Konami and Sony are handshaking with shitloads of cash in order to make this stuff happen. So I bet that there is some oversight there. I honestly think the Silent Hill 2 remake will probably do rather well. I think it'll easily clear Forspoken, no matter how...
Yeah, that incredibly low bar.
Right.
But
yeah, that's a pretty fucking low bar.
It also probably costs less to make than Forspoken.
Maybe.
I don't know about that one.
It's the devs of the medium. It's a linear game. It's not an open world game.
Neither's Forspoken.
They still had to make the terrain. But I don't know.
They made it already in Final Fantasy 15. They just brought it over.
So anyway, I'm gonna be upset.
We just posit that nothing can transfer even between those two versions of the engine. It's so bad.
We update. It's like the Unity problem where they're like, we updated our own engine and now nothing works.
We got the animations, but we have to remodel everything.
And then someone boldly said, what if we don't have to remodel everything? And that's how some of the villagers' faces happen. Anyways, we gotta move on.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I expect this remake will be better than you expect from Bloober Team. I think it will sell better than it deserves because of the legacy of Silent Hill 2 and the Sony money. But we gotta move on. Guys, that Forspoken DLC is less than 2 months.
I don't know why I can't wait. Like in my heart, I was like, "Oh man, that's gonna be hot garbage," and I don't care. But then I saw the tweet, and I'm like, "Fuck! I want to pull that rotten log up and see what crawls away."
Companies really, really need to stop selling DLC for games before they're out and they know how the game is going to do.
Yeah,
Because
especially
Saints
with
Row,
new
the
stuff
Saints
like
Row
this.
also sold a fucking expansion pass that they are now obligated to fill out in that game that bombed and sold nothing.
Yeah, you can do that for like a fighting game where you know that it's like you already have those characters in development. You know people want that for who bought the game, and it's not that huge of a investment compared to we need to make it a whole new story mode for Spoken.
Yeah. Aggro, have you read any of the descriptive text on this DLC?
I have not.
Do you want me to tell you live?
Oh, please.
So, obviously, this will have mild spoilers for the end of Forspoken. So, if you're interested in playing Forspoken, maybe just mute the podcast for a solid minute. So, you're going to slip into a time portal, go back in time, and team up with a Tanta, get a new set of powers, and watch The War. They're in a DLC going to tell the story of The War.
No.
Yeah,
No.
it's like the worst option.
The game fucking ends with and so the adventures continue bullshit. And we're going, oh my god.
And it's even better because the scope they're aiming for is so huge. It's like you watched a drunk dude just get his shit wrecked trying to do a backflip. And while everyone's still going, "Are you okay? Are you okay, man?" He's like, "No, I got it this time." And he's clambering to his feet to do it again.
He's gonna do the cartwheels now.
Gotta go back in time.
Yeah, this is insane. So the end of that game really tonally in how it handles its content reveals and things like that really did just want to be this. Because if you recall, you spend the end of the game watching Christmas tree lights explain to you what happened during the war.
Oh my god.
Uh-huh.
What a nightmare.
Yeah, I thought that DLC was further out, but apparently no, because they delayed the game. It is really close to launch, actually. It's okay, we won't be playing anything important in May. Nothing with Tears or Kingdoms or any of that.
Well, it's 10 days later. You can beat a 180-hour game in 10 days, right?
I feel like I have a better chance of doing that than most people, but I shouldn't.
I think it's funny. They just like get it out before Final Fantasy 16 launches.
Oh,
we
yeah.
never want to talk about this again.
They want to clear the air, absolutely.
Yeah,
Well, it's not just that. It's get it out before we get shut down, because that's happening also.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I
They
think
are
that's
getting
happening
absorbed.
at the end of May, so it's happening like 2 days after the ships.
I'm sure this will get a lot of support post-launch.
Wow.
Hey, Aggro, here you got news.
I have one news story today for 2 reasons. One, because in the end I decided that Bobby Kotick publishes an email where he cries and says disingenuous shit isn't news anymore because it happens every fucking day. And 2, because this is a bit of a complicated topic and I'm going to need your undivided attention for you to follow me through this tale.
Okay.
Now, in 2014, a video game came out called Lords of the Fallen.
Yeah.
In 2016, a film was released called Suicide Squad. Then in 2021, a follow-up to that film was released called The Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
As a semi-successful means of differentiating these properties.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Now, here in the last year or so, there has been announced a video game called The Lords of the Fallen.
Yes.
Which is following an established, if somewhat shaky precedent
Uh-huh.
for marketing differentiation. They have since pissed and shitted and knocked the article off of the title. It is now Lords of the Fallen.
I think they should just knock all the articles off and call it Lords Fallen.
This really bugged me when we saw it last week during the Unreal event.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you were confirming it and I wasn't just going crazy and calling it the Lords of the Fallen.
Yeah, no, like I had to go to like their YouTube channel and like this is a mistake, right? They just forgot it in like one image. No, they're calling it Lords of the Fallen.
Go fuck yourself. There was not a 2. We went from Lords of the Fallen to Lords of the Fallen.
This is the worst it's ever been.
Yeah, this is the worst it's ever been.
Pretty funny though.
What's wrong with just calling it 2?
Or anything, some subtitle. Like, what the fuck was the point of this? What are you doing?
It's obviously just a new franchise anyway. No one on Earth remembers Lords of the Fallen.
Yeah.
Call it anything else.
Yeah.
You can come up with names.
Well, thank you for the update on that, because Bob was going insane while I was watching the Unreal State of Unreal conference. Because they had a little showcase for this game, and it was like, oh, that game looks kind of nice. Isn't that title wrong?
I know I went a little fast on that, so if anybody has any follow-up questions, just leave them below in the comments. Someone will be with you shortly.
It sounds like a threat. Hey, Bob.
Hey, what's up?
I heard we had a Zelda crying direct.
Yes.
Can you tell me about these tears?
There were lots of them in the kingdom.
Well, tell them too about these tears. I'm actually disappearing.
Oh no.
So is this like social inequality tears or like crying tears?
Like crying tears, I think. I'm not entirely sure. This showcase had absolutely no like story at all, so I can't really speak to that well yet. But instead we saw just gameplay systems shown off in this 10-minute showcase of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. First, they showed off Recall, which is you can rewind an object's movements. So they show like, oh, a meteor is falling from the sky. So Link jumps on it and makes it rewind up to when it gets near a sky island and jumps off of it there. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
That's terrifying. Like, it seems like these guys looked at everything weirdos did with the physics systems in the first game and bent over a table and spread their cheeks and went, you think you fucked up our engine before? Try it now.
Yeah, every single one of these powers does feel like, oh, we watched those insane people on Twitter and what they did was our game and made mechanics tailored around that.
A lot of them also just feel like receptions to criticism of Breath of the Wild, like the thing where you can just stick a million things on your fucking weapon feels like a response to, okay, but weapon durability, because now it's fine because you can do so much more shit with it. It feels a lot better than just your sword breaks. It's fine if I attached a bolter to it, then it just makes sense that it broke.
Yeah, that does make that feel a lot cooler.
I was curious because it never bothered me originally, and the first thing they show is weapon durability still being in there. I wondered if this fusing stuff to your weapons actually did alleviate people's issue with that, or if they'd still just be upset because they're constantly building new weapons still.
That doesn't. I was someone who got bothered by the weapon durability a lot. It wasn't just weapon durability. It was also being combined with your limited inventory, which they should not do this time. Having 800 little bullshit motherfuckers on the map to give you a collectible to increase your inventory size was bad. They should not do that again. Do anything else. But the weapon fusing and then attaching shit to your arrows and all that makes it feel a lot more active than just weapon durability. So it does remove the issue for me.
Okay. And they showed the arrows, the weapons, and also shields can all attach stuff to them. So like they attach a mushroom to a shield, and it's like, oh, now when you block it, it shoots out poison gas.
Yeah, like the possibilities for combinations with that aside, being able to craft elemental arrows out of chew jelly instead of relying on the RNG to give you different elemental arrows is incredible.
Yeah, it's been long enough. I forgot if elemental arrows were even in the first game.
No, Zelda on the NES did not have elemental.
The Breath of the Wild game.
No.
How embarrassed? Every other developer better be embarrassed that Nintendo is flexing on you with these insane mechanics on the Switch.
Yeah, again, this just feels like really interesting mechanics, like you saw in early 7th gen, where it's like, oh, we have all this power, let's do something neat.
Yeah, systems-based gameplay. Systems that affect gameplay. It's a thing the industry used to do, and then they started chasing making really pretty games, and then it became an hour count that they started chasing.
Yeah.
You know, with everything being an open world. So it's really funny that on the Switch of all things, they get to do an open world and it has systems-based gameplay. This looks awesome. Just everything I've heard about this thing. It just sounds great. And I'm like, man, I hope Sony starts leaning into that sort of thing.
Yeah, with the power of the PlayStation 5, it'd be really cool to see them try and pull something like this.
It's weird because sadly the closest thing we have is, hey, remember Rift Apart? Remember Ripped a Fart? Yeah, that had the portal thing. That was something you couldn't do.
Right.
Yeah, that was cool.
Except for that one guy who made the Lego games who said, I could totally do that. I will never stop dunking on that man because that video was so fucking clickbaity. It was like, dude, you're ignoring the part where you would have to crank down the fidelity to 1/8 of what it is, and you would still eventually have to load.
The other mechanic they showed off was what they call Ultra Hand, which I think is a hilarious name. It lets you stick any two objects together. They show them like making rafts and flying vehicles and stuff like that's how you use the vehicles they showed in that last trailer. It's literally like, yeah, just pick up random objects in the environment. They showed just air vents sitting around that they're fans. It's just you can stay on the stuff. I guess they'll just be hanging out in the environment.
That's really weird that they called that Ultra Hand because the Ultra Hand,
toy.
Yeah, the toy from the fun fact: I learned what that was during the Wii era when they made a game based on it.
Yeah, Ultra Hand for something.
Yeah, Ultra Hand for something.
It was Showdown with Ultra Hand, I think, is what it was called.
Something like that. But yeah,
no,
that's
Grill Off with that.
That's
Ultra
it.
There
Hand
we
is what it was
go.
called.
Yeah, that's when I found out what that product was. So to call this thing that isn't anything like that.
I mean, yeah, you hold them up with like a glowing hand that's extending. So
That's called a stand.
I know, but it's yeah, it's really funny.
Yeah, this game looks awesome.
I cannot wait to find out the limit of, like, is it by volume? Is it number of objects you can stick together? Is it size of the conglomerated object?
Actually,
is there a limit? Can I hard crash this game?
It's up to you. How well do you want your game to run? If you didn't want Skyrim to keep crashing, why'd you spend 140 hours picking up everything in the game?
I spent 26 hours sticking 4,892 apples together. My game moves at 3 frames a second.
I'm just Aggro. Have you ever heard the story of the DM who was a dick about immovable rods?
I've heard a lot of great stories about immovable rods.
Have you heard the one specifically where, if you don't know what an immovable rod is in D&D, it's a thing where you have like a rod of metal. You can hold it out and say like, okay, stay, and it stays in place, and it's really fucking hard to move. This DM was like, it shoots off into space because the planet's moving. And the party then turned that against him by using it to destroy a castle during a siege.
Yup.
And that's what this Tears of the Kingdom stuff is making me think of. That and the peasant rail cannon. Aggro, have you ever heard of the peasant rail cannon?
Yes, it is a classic.
So in D&D, it takes no time to pass items from one person to another.
Oh my god.
So you line up a bunch of peasants and have them pass something so fast that it effectively builds infinite speed and becomes like a rail cannon. That's another thing these mechanics remind me of.
Now, if only we get Link using the toilet, we can truly call this an immersive sim.
Yeah, that's all that's left. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people who are like, and we got a bit of this with the last trailer where it was like nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
They were comparing to nuts and bolts. And I got to relive that moment where the people I least trusted with whether or not nuts and bolts is good were the ones who were jazzed that this was like that. These were the people that for years I had to listen to, oh, nuts and bolts is great. It hates the original 3D platformers. And it's like, yeah, I think you just like it because it does that. And then we played the game and it was like, oh no, this game's great. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Man, they should have let Rare keep making games like this and their other games. Asshole.
Yeah, Nuts and Bolts 2 is way more valid than just never shipping a game.
It's also more valid than Sea of Thieves, which did ship.
Yeah.
Microsoft, come on. Anyway. Back on topic. Is there anything?
The last ability they showed off was Ascend, which if there's a ceiling near you, you can jump up to it and like flow through it like to the top of a mountain if you're in a cave. Like you just go to the highest point from whatever you were below.
So basically, the way I've heard this described is so similar to the way you described it, but I have still not seen this thing. So I'm going to say what I visualized based on that.
Okay.
So basically, all of the mass above you becomes like a body of water and you are an air bubble. So you just shoot straight to the top.
Yes.
And then the moment it ends, you pop out of that.
Yep.
What a bizarre thing.
Yeah. It also makes traversing like mountains and stuff way easier, is potentially, as long as they build it right.
So what I'm thinking is, and this is
how do they terrain design around that?
Right. Like
Yeah.
I'm thinking this is just guess what, motherfuckers? We've been showing a lot of air shit, but there's underground shit.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And that would be your escape rope. You
That'd
would
be
just
extremely cool.
literally escape the dungeon by shooting through the top of it.
I don't know how much you're going to have to climb in this game because of these kind of abilities. But if you do have to climb, I hope I can fuse Choo Choo Jelly to my fucking glove so I can climb in the rain.
Yes, they do need to do something about that.
Like they showed him going into a cave and all the way up a mountain, and I like in the same way that the paraglider changed the way open world games deal with height in the Descent, they just amazingly followed that up with now changing the way you deal with height going up
in the Ascent.
Like, how dare you? How dare you change that paradigm twice in a row, you weird bastards.
I think it's really good. I think this game's primed to literally be the follow-up back to Elden Ring. Which is really hilarious because it's like we get 2 of those 2 years in a row. That's funny. Good luck next year. We get Resident Evil 4 remake and Tears of the Kingdom this year. They're like, Dan, we have Wolverine. I'm like, oh, my penis. Fuck.
This little feature also showed off some new products. So they showed us the Switch OLED with Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. It looks very nice, and you can pre-order it, and I might.
It looks so good. I hear for GameStop, you have to go into the store to pre-order it. That is what they said.
Probably. So just after the Resident Evil 4 thing, I don't even know if I can trust that. Like, that's how bad it is.
Bob, you would have gotten your copy the next day.
No.
Oh.
They canceled all the collector's edition pre-orders, remember?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay. Sorry, I thought you meant your specific Resident Evil 4 thing where it was like, we're not doing a midnight launch and we have no idea why. We have so many sales.
I need to say this. That RE4 thing made me never buy from GameStop ever again.
Oh, yeah. No, I get that.
Right?
Like, I was like, okay, I need to buy Atelier Rise of 3 from somewhere. Amazon is telling me it'll show up a month after launch for some reason. I guess I can go to GameStop. Wait, no, fuck. I can't go to GameStop because of this. I don't trust them anymore. So I had to buy it online from fucking Walmart.
That's funny. That's the point it got to. Buying it online from Walmart.
Yeah. They also
Actions have consequences, GameStop.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah, I can't believe they let something that big a fumble happen.
Yeah, they
don't take orders for freaking collector editions if you aren't going to even slightly try and honor them.
This is the end of the chapter the last chapter of their book. where it's just, this is the third act moment. This is the inciting incident of, I guess this is the Empire Strikes Back ending, right? Where it's like all of this built up, you degrading the trust that any customer ever had in you. As you don't train employees well, as you don't give them enough hours, as you do all of these things, as you fill your stores with garbage, you finally peak with, we just canceled all of your pre-orders on this thing that is an edition specifically geared for you to pre-order it so you can be sure you got it. And now you have no chance of getting it. They have absolutely broken their trust. Absolutely.
This was like the worst game it could have happened to. Like if it happened to the Cosmic Shake Deluxe Edition, nobody would have given a shit. Some people would have, but overall, it would not have. I would not have gone, no, I can't trust them anymore.
Right. They did it with a
Like,
game
the
that
fact
sold
that-
3 million copies in 2 days. So
Yeah,
people probably noticed.
I really need RE4 Remake to pull Elden Ring numbers, to pull Kobe numbers, and just read like, okay, now every game for the next 5 years is RE4 again.
I also need this.
That would be pretty astonishing.
Here's the thing, and we're gonna
Coalition comes out like, oh, we remembered how to make a third-person shooter. RE4 showed us.
yeah. Wouldn't
Gear
that be
6 is good.
Wouldn't that be great? I wish I had any faith that a complete lack of executive meddling with the Coalition's next game, because you hear stories about other studios, even as far back as like 10 years ago, handling their legacy IPs and just weird mandates from higher management. Luckily, Bonnie Ross is no longer there. Lucky for us. But yeah, I hope that happens. But, you know, and we'll get into this more elsewhere. Resident Evil 4 Remake gets to cheat. They got to sell a Ground Zeroes at $60.
Yeah, they did.
They're like, that's the highest number. That's clearly the important game. Don't think about what we're doing with all these assets.
God. Resident Evil 8 was the biggest scam ever pulled off.
And it's so good they
I
got away
still
with
like
it.
that game. I still think it's fine. I'm never gonna play it or think about it ever again now that RE4 Remake's out. But it was fine. I do think it's really smart how Capcom has fallen into this rhythm of like they're doing this weird form of like double iteration. Which is what is allowing them to ship these fucking stellar games every other year.
Yeah, they are literally rocking it like we're back in the PS2 era or PS1 era.
Yeah, I just
It's
need them to be
insane.
able to expand that beyond just Resident Evil.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, man,
Like Mega
just
Man.
playing through this and being like, oh man, if you made Onimusha 1 or Devil May Cry 1 like this,
Oh yeah.
that'd be insane.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I hope since they're basically out of Resident Evil games they want to remake,
Mhm.
that we start to get stuff like that.
I mean, once again, we're going to be talking about this elsewhere. I think they have 2 more Resident Evil games to remake, but we'll get into that elsewhere.
Hey, it's so weird that they put in that parry. If only there was a samurai game with a really big focus on doing an instant counter based on timing that was in their
Onimusha Blade
catalog.
Warriors. The great Mega Man Zero vehicle. God, that game was cool.
Yeah, it was.
That was not a bad Smash clone.
No, that
That's
was probably
actually-
the best Smash clone.
It's really up there. I liked it more than DNO.
Yeah, I liked it more than Multiversus.
Or is it DON?
Whatever.
I,
We'll never get it right.
I'm like, one of those is the streamer. I don't think the streamer orders the letters the same way as maybe he's a really big fan. I'll have to ask Dino. Hey, you like Dragon Ball, Naruto, and One Piece?
God, that game is such trash. That's embarrassing trash.
And yet, Multiversus felt worse because it came out 2 decades later. Hey, do we have any Multiversus news? Let's head over to
Wait,
Chris.
1 second.
God damn it.
We had 2 things announced here. There's also a Pro controller and a carrying case based on Tears of the Kingdom. They look very nice.
Let
too.
me look up the carrying case.
The carrying case is not as nice as the old one, unfortunately.
What do you mean it's not as nice? That's not allowed.
Making this
Oh yeah, no, you're right.
yeah.
That doesn't look as
Yeah,
good.
no, that Sheikah Slate case was a once in a lifetime thing that I'm still incredibly mad about missing out on.
Just to be clear, it's only this funny because me, Bob, and 3 other guys that Aggro all knows showed up on day 1 to get it. And then had to deal with the guy who came in to pre-order it right after us. He's like, hey, I want one too. And they're like, we're out. And then we're all just standing there like, uh-oh. He knows exactly who got it. And for anyone who's really lost track, we're talking about the Switch case. That was the day 1 launch of the Switch Zelda Breath of the Wild case, which is a really good case.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Aggro. Maybe it's cheap on eBay. You should check right now live while Chris talks about Multiversus.
So was anybody on? Did anybody know that this was supposed to be an open beta?
There might have been things out there to let me know.
But they didn't
no.
forward. They didn't front load that at all. They didn't put it forward at all. And I went and checked. Yes, like in fine print on all this shit. They're like, it's an open beta.
Yeah, the title screen doesn't say that, so it really.
Yeah, when it exited early access, we assumed the beta was over.
Right.
But
and we have people in chat saying their season 1 update is called Patch 1.0. So I feel like there's a social contract they at least wronged here.
This is obviously complete bullshit. Anything they say is a lie. They want to try and relaunch the game. They want to do over because they put a lot of money into this game.
Mm-hmm.
They can't just and even if a relaunch gets so much more attention than just here's a big patch that fixes a bunch of shit.
Right.
I mean, they can start to solve problems that will break parts of the game.
Right.
If they do a relaunch.
So they want to do over, and so the game is going offline in June, and we'll be back early 2024. So I hope you didn't buy that $100 Founders Pack. You will still be able to play it offline.
Dan, did you buy that $100?
Dan,
No,
come on!
no, what?
Fucking come
What?
on!
No, I didn't do that. Why are you all jumping to conclusions
Come
here?
on!
I don't remember. I don't think it was 100. I don't think it was 100.
I actually think I bought one of those. I didn't buy the $100 one, but I bought one of those against character tokens. I'm scared that it'll come back and I won't be able to use them.
Oh, yeah, the character tokens, because they didn't promise anything about that.
Well, I guess you better use them on characters you don't want before it goes offline.
Maybe
I'm sure there are plenty of characters that have been added since Bob last played that he wants. Like, hey, Bob.
Yeah.
What about Rick? Didn't they add Rick Sanchez? Because they added Morty when we were last playing, and obviously you passed on him, but you love Rick.
Yeah, and then Pickle Rick.
Yeah.
Did they actually release him, or did they just?
I think they released him. Yeah.
Okay, I thought that might be one of the things. Like, maybe he's coming out next week, or maybe we're taking the whole game offline in a month.
Literally everything that leaked came out, and then they shut it down. So here's my only hope, and it will never happen. But this is the right move. If they were smart, this is exactly what they would do. Hire Sakurai. Do it. Give him all the money he asked for.
He doesn't work directly. He could literally just be an advisory role. He could come in, play the game for 2 hours, and be like, this, and this.
He literally did an entire YouTube series basically adding you in the replies. Fix your fucking game. I cannot believe how Sakurai, like, he doesn't bring up Multiversus, I don't think, ever. He might show it once in all of these videos, but he's never about any specific game. But almost every fucking episode is about you. Every single one. Have you seen the quote tweets, Multiversus? Hire this man.
Multiversus. They're doing American History X on you in the quote tweets, Multiversus.
The Terminator kid is so upset. But seriously, hire Sakurai. Sora Limited is a third-party contractor. He's not owned by Nintendo. His company isn't owned by Nintendo. He's literally engineered ways to work from a distance. Hire that man, you dumb motherfuckers. I don't care what the ego of the executives are, the people working on the game. None of you are better than Masahiro Sakurai.
Yeah, but the executives would be like, but he's not white.
Are we still in an era where they would do that about video games?
Yes.
I'll make a Marge Simpson sound over that.
I feel like the current state of the industry, where all the big Western publishers are in varying states of on fire, and now games like Elden Ring and RE4 Remake and who knows what else are like selling the numbers that were formerly reserved for like Call of Duty and Madden.
Mm-hmm.
It's very obviously like straining the mental state of a lot, not developers. Developers normally have a little bit more mental stability.
Mm-hmm.
But like game journalists and people who work in the industry that are not developers, like PR, stuff like that, you can like see their mental state degrading as they feel like they're not the kings anymore.
Yeah. I mean, we have a news thing we can go into directly from this that is basically that. But just to be clear, for the record, I did not get the $100 founders pack.
Oh, okay.
That would be stupid.
Yeah.
I got the $40 one and later got a $50 one.
Well, you beat the allegations. That's what matters.
Came in $10 too low.
That's smart shopping.
Look, and the $50 one wouldn't have happened if Velma didn't have outfits. I wanted it to happen. Like, obviously. Hey, Chris, you got any news about corporations trying to be like, oh, Japan?
Okay, so here's the Microsoft ruins the podcast block. Let's go.
Always has to come.
We'll do the Game Pass shit first because it's faster. Microsoft is ending the $1 Game Pass trial because too many people would just pay them $1 whenever they wanted to play something on Game Pass, and then cancel it immediately, and then get another $1 trial later.
Yep.
Why?
Also,
I heard
as
they
we
were
were-
only ending it because it done so well already. They don't need it anymore.
Also, while we were doing this podcast, they apparently soft launched Xbox Game Pass Family, which is $40 a month.
Holy shit, that's a lot.
It is ultimate ultimate privileges for up to 5 people. It's so much that you better have 5 people or it doesn't fucking work out.
Right, I was
numbers-wise.
like, I'm still paying $8 a person? Like,
Well, like isn't it $12 a person for Ultimate normally?
It's 15 $15 for it's
yeah.
15 bucks a month
Okay.
for Ultimate.
Yeah,
But that's
okay.
still not enough. That's not enough for $40 a month. That's a ass load.
Like, I run a podcast network where we cover games, and I'm still sitting here like, oh, I don't know. We might be a family, but that seems like really expensive. Because, like, it's me, you, and Chris have Xboxes. Aggro does not.
Right.
And then I need to find
Right.
2 Xbox owners.
Like Game Pass means family, and family means nobody gets left behind.
Here's your
Family
Xbox
means
Series
nobody
S.
has to pay for Atomic Heart.
Oh, my God.
Now here's Xbox. And there's more to this that also came out today. Not the exact same, but similar. Xbox is fucking crying to Congress that nobody in Japan wants to buy an Xbox.
Yeah,
It's fucking.
This is
Now,
deranged.
for my own fucking mental state, for my own fucking mental health, I have to assume that they're just being dicks to try and cause trouble for Sony because they're mad about their Activision deal being impeded at all. I have to, for my own mental health, have to assume they do not actually believe what they are instructing their pet Congress people to say, because most of these Congress people are from Washington, Microsoft's home state.
Yeah, in case
Yeah.
you didn't see that, it's like almost all of them.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
So
I'm really
I have
glad
to
our
assume it's just
taxpayer
them.
dollars are paying for these people who have no spine. Yeah.
So the basic gist is Sony has somehow been ruining Xbox's sales in Japan. We told our pet Congress people that Nintendo doesn't exist, so we gave them the numbers that Sony controls 95% of the Japanese console market. I'm sorry, they used the weasel language of high-end console market, which isn't a fucking thing.
Right.
Oh.
So they
it's
are
like
so
it's not even Sony
so they
does
ha-
well in Japan
yeah.
anymore.
Sony isn't the leader anymore. Sony Gaming is basically an American company. They're headquartered in fucking California. Shut the fuck up. You're so pathetic.
Yeah, this is literally just so we can be clear here. For anyone who doesn't have these mechanisms built into their brain to immediately pierce to the core of a thing, Microsoft is instructing senators to believe their racist bullshit. Oh, this other country is anti-competitive. They're keeping us out of their country, and I'm like, at the end of the day, if they were doing that, then whatever. Fuck you. It's not your own turf. Secondly, they're not doing that. You're just not trying. So double fuck you.
Yeah, every single
the,
thing.
The Biden administration trade representative basically had this tone of like, I'll say I'm going to look into it, and then I'm not going to do it at all.
I hope so, because man, this is...
Everybody has more important shit to worry about than this. This was literally just Microsoft shaking the bush, rabble-rousing about Sony.
Like, what did they
speaking
expect
of that,
him to do? Like, oh, this Japanese company's keeping us out of Japan. Sir, you called the U.S. government, right?
well, they want the trade representative to go to Japan and say, you better get involved and take care of Sony illegally blocking Microsoft from being successful in the industry by... trails off.
And that's when they just fade away in person.
Yeah, wasn't it about buying exclusivity on like 2 games or something? Like I think
it was.
They literally listed like 2 examples.
Yeah.
They're like, obviously we'd be doing just as well as Sony if they didn't get these 2 games. And I'm like,
there's like I keep leaning towards the acquisition will go through because everybody is cucked by giant businesses. But the way they're throwing fits constantly now, like it so indicates that it is not going as smoothly as they keep having their pet analysts go out and insist.
Yep.
Which speaking of that, we got a rumor about why NetEase quit working at Blizzard. With Blizzard, which is Bobby Kotick is a paranoid lunatic who thought they were going to try to interfere with the deal.
What?
Like that they were going to go to the Chinese government and be like, say no to this deal.
That motherfucker's gonna step on my toes. Pulls out shotgun, aims at own foot, right?
And Bobby Kotick put out like a public letter today, basically saying it was real fucking embarrassing. It's like, I'm really disappointed that Sony's been objecting to this deal, even though we've been such good partners for so long. Don't worry though, when the deal goes through, I won't hold it against them. I am now of the opinion that every single thing about them saying they're keeping Bobby Kotick if this deal falls through is a lie. He will kill himself if it doesn't go through. So everybody should be hoping for it to fall apart.
I mean, everyone should hope for this to fall apart because it's going to signal a sea change for all sorts of things. But man,
like he just genuinely seems like he is mentally falling apart over this deal.
Oh, I bet. I mean, no one in any of the parties involved expected this to go the way it was. That's why you see, what is her name again? It's really hard to remember the whole thing, but Lulu Cheng Maservi, I believe is the full name of the Activision person.
CFO, I think.
Yeah, she's on Twitter just every day trying to rile up the troops. It's just like, this is embarrassing behavior for someone in your position.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard for me to tell if these analysts coming out and saying, well, it'll probably go through because of X, Y, and Z is real, or if it's like where I'm seeing the consent being manufactured before my eyes.
Right? Because like either the analysts are just bullshitting, or like you said, just inertia and the way our culture is, it's going to get brute force through anyway, but they're still out here throwing tantrums because anyone dared to question them.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's a pretty Microsoft move. To do that. That's very Old Testament Microsoft. But it just feels weird in the modern climate. It just feels weird to see a corporation throw fits.
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, we spent 2 decades dehumanizing you. The only you that exists as a person is the Twitter handler. What are you doing acting like a guy who had flaming poop in a bag left on their porch? Stop yelling. We're trying to go to sleep.
Somebody needs to go around to the C-suite over there and show them Bill Gates' deposition and be like, this is why you need to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. What if somebody did and that just made it worse?
I'm just gonna whip through the rest of my shit real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thankfully we're out of the Microsoft block.
Yeah, thank God.
RE4 Remakes Mercenary Mode launches April 7th.
Did you see
that.
any of the leaked info that got data
No, I did
mined out of
not.
it?
No, I did not.
Okay, so I'm gonna play the Dragon Quest music while I talk about data leaks about Resident Evil 4 Mercenaries mode. We have character list.
Ooh.
Hunk, Wesker, Krauser, Ada Wong, Leon, of course. They have this thing, I believe it was called Mania Mode, where each character has listed for them a sort of buff they get from going into this mode. So it sounds like an ascended form that they get in this. Leon and Ada, they do more damage and they shoot faster. Isn't that cool? Hunk gets infinite ammo. Krauser transforms and can start doing melee combos and sick shit. This all sounds real good.
Very hype.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Wasn't there another data leak that Separate Ways is also?
Yes, there's files referencing Separate Ways.
I literally
Okay.
put that in the news document where I'm like, Separate Ways win Capcom.
Yeah, that's been data mined out too. Also, I think people data mined out the more what is a good word for it? The more Asian dress that Ada Wong used to have in the older
It's a
represent-
Cheongsam.
Oh, I've never known the name for that. Say that again.
Cheongsam.
And now
think
I
is how
will
you
ask
pronounce
Steve
it.
for Gamers Nexus to say it because that man's Chinese is incredible. Anyways, they data mined it. She's got that. Anyways, I'm turning off the music. So yeah, that all looks really promising.
Yep. Work has begun on a Mega Man Legends PC to compilation. Hell yeah, let's go.
See, this would have been in my news, but I was going to wait until it was done because I always have this skeptical sort of energy when it comes to retro enthusiast projects.
A bunch of them has
But-
come out, so I'm willing to give them rope this one time, and then if they fail me, never again.
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't know if this specific group has a track record, but I'm very optimistic about this. This is really cool, and I love Mega Man Legends. Now do too.
Mega Man Legends that controls like a Ratchet and Clank game would be a cultural reset.
It would. I don't know if that would be, we decomped it and then we did a lot of engineering to fix it. Because keep in mind, Mario 64, they did a whole new camera system for the decomp and it's still not good. Turns out video games are hard.
So a new chapter of the Mega Man.exe manga came out after 20 years.
That's weird.
It is
insane.
It is set 20 years after the original series and stars Lan and Mail's son, Patch.
What?
So there's like weirdly strong signaling that there might be an actual like a new Battle Network project in development.
Bob's going to be so mad. He's going to be so mad. He's like, of all the Mega Mans.
It will
It
be
will
really
be
upsetting if they don't do like anything else and all we get is more Battle Network.
You're going to get, they're going to race the other projects out, Bob. You're getting a new Battle Network.
I will be very upset if like this is announced and releases before we ever see Mega Man X9.
I bet that's happening.
Yeah, Mega Man X9 or even a new Mega Man like original, like in 12.
I bet that's happening.
That's insane.
But here's the thing: part of me wants to entertain that on the back end of that, we'll get those other things. We'll get a 12.
If they're bothering to bring back, but like it's not like they have a success to point to. They're just like, okay, we're gonna bring back Battle Network, and it's like, if that happens, the other things have to be happening. Capcom has been real good lately. I cannot put fumbling the bag on them at this stage.
X is a really hard game to deal with. Like, the X franchise is such a hard thing to deal with. The original isn't. I don't know why 12 isn't out yet. I
Well, because the team is working on fucking Street Fighter 6. That's why.
I think Battle Network honestly makes a lot of sense from a number of angles. It's also one of the best-selling Mega Man franchises.
Huh.
So I think it's a good idea. They could definitely reinvent that. For all we know, that thing's going to become a third-person shooter RPG.
Yeah, I have to wonder what they do, like if they keep the grid battle system or what.
They're going to
I
do it,
imagine
and
they
then
keep
we're
the
all going to
grid
be
battle
mad.
system.
They're going to do this third-person shooter RPG thing, and then we're going to be mad that it's not Legends.
Oh yeah, if they did that and wasn't Legends, it would just be upsetting.
There's no way this isn't going to be a throwback because that One Step from Eden game was real popular, which is just roguelike Battle Network.
Yeah.
So I assume it'll just be like the original, but with 3D models. Disney laid off their entire fucking metaverse division, 7,000 people.
7,000 people?
How'd they have that many working on it?
They bought into the bullshit.
What is with all these companies? Sweet fucking Christ.
What were they even doing?
Right? 7,000? What?
Oh, it was Bob Chapek's metaverse division. He loved that shit. No wonder he's been banished to the fucking void.
Fucking idiot.
Oh,
Remember when corporations used to make a real thing and then sell it to you once for them to make a profit?
Uh-huh.
Oh no, wait. I'm sorry. They intend to slash 7,000 jobs total. The metaverse department was only 50 people.
Okay,
Oh,
now
okay.
that
Oh,
I can
Jesus.
believe.
That makes way more sense.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. I don't know how you have 7,000 people working on a thing that doesn't exist.
You have to make the metaverse version of the Frozen universe so you can explore it.
It's called Kingdom Hearts 3.
No,
That would be anything anybody wanted, Bob. So it was
Yes.
going to be you can go to a theme park based on the Frozen universe wherein you can give us $40 for a Frozen t-shirt for your Xbox Live avatar that has no legs.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Man, VR is really cool. These people got to stop fucking it up.
In Chris Wynn's news, Live a Live is coming to PlayStation and PC on April 27th.
Vindication.
Yeah, the arc of history trends long, but it ultimately trends towards don't buy a third-party game on Switch.
Yeah. Modern life is complicated, except. Oh, man. I'm really glad I did not play that last year because God knows I will have a much better experience playing that on my PS5 this year.
Mm-hmm.
And because of our crazy GigaBoots Podcast Network rules, it can land on my list.
Me
Yeah, maybe
counting
one
all
of you
the
guys
money
will
I'm not
actually
going to
like
give.
it.
Yeah.
Me counting all the money I'm not going to be giving the Danganronpa guy until his new game is on something other than the Switch.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's actually going to hurt more than waiting for Live Alive.
And last bit of news, there's going to be a Scott Pilgrim anime on Netflix. Anna Monoguchi is doing the soundtrack. The entire movie cast is coming back to voice.
Yeah, isn't that insane?
Yeah, that's insane because a lot of these have moved on to be like big actors.
I mean, yeah.
Chris Evans, Brie Larson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Michael Cera got out. Good for him.
Why isn't Michael Cera like a Marvel guy?
He would be Spider-Man.
If they were able to do Spider-Man a few years earlier, it would have been him, and it would have been immaculate.
would have.
There is a timeline where he's Morales.
But here's the thing, Bob.
Uh-huh.
They did it even earlier than that. It's Shia LaBeouf, and we're in the worst timeline.
And we need that perfect medium.
We need it in the Michael Cera zone. But yeah, worth noting, Science Saru is making this. They did one of those Star Wars shorts.
Yeah, there's
they
that.
also did Azoken.
Yes, I can.
Yeah. So this could be good.
Yeah,
This could be really good.
I think Edgar Wright is involved somehow.
Yeah, he's one of the producers. So is Brian Lee O'Malley and some guy I've never heard of. But his name was kind of funny, and I was like, cool.
I have faith that this will probably be good.
I'm a fucking idiot for Scott Pilgrim stuff, so what I say shouldn't be trusted, but I'm sure this will be great. I'm obviously going to get it.
The moment I saw that tweet, I thought this is Dan's fault somehow. I don't
Yeah,
know
right.
how he did it.
Oh, let me trace it back. Guess who brought Scott Pilgrim to Bless Blunted? Your boy. You're welcome, all of you. You're welcome. Yeah, no, this is good. This is gonna be good.
Yeah.
I cannot think of like that studio is a good pick. We could have ended up with way worse.
Right.
Assuming we get Azoken Science Saru and not that Star Wars short Science Saru.
That seems to be an unusual level of science sorrow. Most of their other stuff seems to be pretty legitimate.
I
Right.
would assume.
Like they did Devilman Crybaby, for fuck's sake.
Right. So I have to wonder if it's going to be kind of like that, where it's a smaller amount of episodes that are all crazy looking.
I assume.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of material to
Right.
adapt
I was
with
like,
Scott Pilgrim.
what are we going to continue the Scott Pilgrim verse afterwards?
I assume it'll
want-
just be a total like a do of the comic, which
Right,
is 6
right.
volumes, so
But
it's a decent amount.
I want nothing more than that. That would be absolutely hilarious. Please. For the love
They
of
can't
God.
do more than that. Like I feel like Brian O'Malley would get involved. It's like no, like you can't. What? Okay, here's the next step of Scott's journey. He's still a fucking asshole.
Here's the next steps of Scott's journey. He has a Vita. And he thinks it's the best, and he helps the fact that his parents bought him a Vita. He thinks that defines him as a person, and he still sucks. And turns out Scott, too, is waiting for Edgar Wright to write something. So that way Scott can then do that. Hint, hint.
Okay, that's all my news.
Yeah, this anime is going to be great. I love Bob's reaction. Who's making it? Okay, so it actually is anime, and some executive didn't say it was anime.
Yeah, I was really worried about that. There's always that fear of it's like, yeah, it's made by Titmouse. That's anime, right?
It's anime. Titmouse is anime. Titmouse is anime. Venture Brothers is anime.
Uh-huh.
Kappa Mikey is anime.
Can you imagine this? The Scott Pilgrim thing came out and looked like Kappa Mikey.
I mean, yeah, that would be immaculate.
Right? Like, there's something about that works, but it's also horrible.
Well, at that point, get rid of Michael Cera. Just bring in Michael Sinterklaas.
Oh my God.
Just have him play, his Kappa Mikey voice, but for Scott.
Oh my God.
Oh, I was supposed to take knives to dinner. We get the weird version of the ending where he ends up with both of them. And so it's just this polyamorous relationship, and Ramona and Knives are both like, man, he sucks. What are we doing? And then they break up with him and they go off and they're a couple. And I'm just like, yes, this is faithful to how that guy's life would go.
Why is the final episode Scott killing himself?
It's weird that he was voiced by God, what was the name of the game where it ended with him killing himself? The fucking comedy game we played this year.
Matt Hazard.
Matt Hazard. It's weird that they got that guy to
and Beyond.
Yeah, it's weird that they got him to voice him for the last episode. Yeah, the medium. Anyways, hey Bob, I hear you have other news about games that take place in the skies.
Yes, there's a rumor of a Skies of Arcadia remaster happening. The source is Nick Shapelsha Baker from Xbox Era, who apparently leaked the title for Lego 2K Drive. So
is that announced?
I guess that just got announced.
Okay.
So I guess it's somewhat some validity to it, but I'm not going to wholly buy into it.
Apparently, the only thing that actually they have is like a screenshot of the game with higher quality textures, which could just be a fan project. I don't believe this for a second.
No, I played Valkyria Chronicles. The prophecy is real.
Yeah, sure. It sure hurt that they put those characters in that game.
Honestly,
forgot.
at this, Skies of Arcadia looks okay, but it's no Mega Man Legends. I would really rather they just fucking do like a Unreal 4 remake or something. But I guess that's even less likely.
Mm-hmm.
It really helped that game to have voice acting. It, in fact, kind of seemed like it was supposed to have voice acting the first time, but didn't.
Yeah, it'd be neat to see them actually messing with some of their lesser known properties like this from Sega. Be cool to see that happen.
Special.
Is that it?
Special. It's the word special, but with an H, so it's special.
All right. Great. So hopefully anything comes of that, but you don't get your hopes up.
I mean, my hopes are already up. I've been told by 2 people that Skies of Arcadia is the RPG of that generation. And they could not be 2 more different, yet weirdly similar people. One of them's Handsome Joe, and the other one's Spaceman Spiff. Both like football, is football in this game? That's
Okay,
what I'm wondering right now.
What gen are we counting this as? Sixth,
Sixth.
I assume. And what version are we counting?
I don't
assume
know. They may
Legends.
have been talking about different versions.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I like Skies of Arcadia Legends a lot. But there's a lot of JRPGs that gen I like. Like I really like Shadow Hearts 2 also.
NFL RPG. I'm
But
like,
Skies of Arcadia
how did I not see one scene where they throw football? That's half this fucking game.
Skies of Arcadia is really good. It certainly deserves to be on a console anyone owned.
Yeah.
What are you
'Cause
talking
it was
about?
a-
It was on the dream. It was on the game.
You could technically play it on the Wii, which everybody owned, but nobody actually played games on, which is why most Wii's ended up in closets after 2010.
I know. Isn't that great? Hey, Bob, let's move on.
Yeah, of course. A new game called Edo Zombie Uprising.
Oh, isn't it? Oh, I thought it was a 0.
It's a 0, but it sounds like they're saying Edo, and it's weird.
oh, like Edo Japan.
yeah, it's like Edo Japan.
ED0 means Edo, like Japan.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck is this game?
This is a roguelike like character action game.
I'm
in
gonna.
3D.
Here's a pro tip.
Yeah,
Don't lead with roguelike ever.
they did.
I need you to introduce me to aesthetics, gameplay, and then sucker punch me.
I'm sorry.
Chris is asleep. You did that to him by putting roguelike at the beginning
Honestly,
of the
I think I want more games to open with roguelikes and go, oh, I don't need a character. Goodbye.
boom, 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 boom.
It's set in like feudal Japan.
Okay.
You get 3 different playable characters fighting hordes of zombies, and constantly when you die, you go back to the beginning of the game and it re-rolls everything. And you get to carry over some skills or something like that. So it's very roguelike core.
So is it 2D, 3D?
It's 3D. It's a 3D action game.
Okay.
Looks kind of neat. You get the sumo wrestler, ninja, and a samurai.
I just saw who's developing this.
Yes. Developed by Langkars, the developers of Diofield Chronicles.
It's over.
Yeah.
Bob, isn't it the Diofield Chronicle?
Yes. The Diofield Chronicle. That name sucks.
I didn't really like Legos. I really got in at Cryonicles.
And they've done a few other things. They helped develop El Shaddai way back in the day. They've been around forever.
Okay.
And they also worked on Lost Dimension. So a bunch of like C or D tier games under their belt.
Oh, this has been on early access for almost a year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it came out last
That
April
tricked-
on early access.
They tricked you, Bob.
They did. Crazy.
So you're saying this Landcars company might be the Japanese Iron Galaxy?
What were they do? Develop assistance and release nothing but duds?
I didn't say that.
Yeah, they might be that. They might be that.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about this in news because I'm sorry if you're listening and this affects you, but no one on this podcast gives a shit. The Last of Us Part 1 port to PC is busted. Don't buy it right now. Maybe wait a little bit.
Or maybe just never buy it. Like, don't support that. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it'll get fixed. I mean, the Sackboy thing went from do not buy to actually really great.
Right.
So who knows? Sony seems to really care about their PC initiatives, and the Nathan Drake collection was not this bad.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
guess
it's not called that.
Right.
I can't remember what the 4 and whatever that DLC.
Yeah, whatever
game.
it was.
Yeah, I can't remember what that one was called. Anyways,
yeah, I guess this is the only way to play The Last of Us on PC. I wasn't
Yes.
thinking about that. It
Yeah.
was just like, you don't need to buy Last of Us Part 1. You just don't need to do that.
Bob's like, just boot up your PS4 forehead.
All I'm saying is that when I think back to The Last of Us and my experience playing that game, I think I really liked it, but what it was missing was characters randomly becoming sopping wet in the middle of cutscenes.
Yes, that clip is amazing.
Excuse me? I have not seen this.
Yeah, they just get wetter and wetter as the cutscene goes.
No,
They'll
never
just, like,
mind.
cut
I'm
away and-
reversing it. Buy it now. Get it
So
now.
I looked at a trailer for this zombie game.
Uh-huh.
it got a lot of points because at the end of this fucking trailer, they show evil zombie Commodore Matthew Perry. If you don't know who Matthew Perry is, he is the guy who led the Perry expedition to Japan and told them to open the country.
Yeah, the game's whole plot is his ship rolls up and is filled with zombies.
Yeah, he's he was the guy who was on the black ships, you know, from Kenshin or any other Bakumatsu era thing.
We're just straight up doing the Romero shit here of what do the zombies stand for? What could it be? It could mean anything. Anyways, let's move on.
Sure.
Let's move on.
Rusted Moss, a game I played for one of our demo roundups, is actually coming out April 12th. This game looked pretty cool. It's a Metroidvania 2D game where you have a physics-based grappling hook.
Yes.
So like Umahara Kawase style, just catapult yourself around with it. That looked neat. I did not think it was going to be even close to coming out. And here it is, coming out in like 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah, that's close.
Yeah.
I'm going to need people to give me a little bit more time after RE4. Because I've only had enough time to play it for 34 hours.
Yeah, right.
And that's nowhere
not
near
enough.
No. Please come out in May, when I will play Tears of the Kingdom and tell you to come out months later.
Game, go away. Come again another day.
Yes, it's a little rough for you guys this year.
My next thing is they've been teasing this new fighting EX layer game.
Please, Bob, we all know about fighting EX layer. You can call it the slang, the shorthand, Fexel.
Yeah, Fexel.
All the Fexel heads in chat know what you're talking about. What's the deal with Fexel?
It is unclear if this is a brand new game, an update for the old game, DLC. It's probably just a brand new game.
Okay.
This thing they've shown off has a few new mechanics, like the game is actually operates in 3D now. Like you can sidestep and use the 3D environment.
We turned Fexel into Tekken 4. Did Satan make you?
It's more like Tekken regular.
5, yeah.
Yeah, regular Tekken, not Tekken 4. We've not seen anything like the environments are weirdly geometry made and have ups and downs and all sorts of things to get in the way. They added launchers. So now every character could do like a launcher and then follow up and like do air combos, kind of like in
Marvel?
Yeah, kind of like Marvel.
Cool.
And they're adding 2 new control modes. So it's like regular control mode where all the inputs are like what you typically expect in a fighting game, and then simplified inputs that it looks like you just hit like single buttons to do specials. It's like a button in a direction. It does a special.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was like, this is neat. We're going to see more of it, and it's going to be playable at EVO Japan, which is this weekend.
Awesome. Great.
All they've shown so far as character-wise is they got Terry Bogard. So, hey, that's great.
That's good. That's smart.
And then Alan, who I don't even remember. He's like
Alan
wearing
from
Fighting EX Layer. He's like a really generic looking dude who wears the gi with the American flag colors on it.
Do you mean from Street Fighter EX?
He might be in there.
Because he can't be in Fighting EX Layer. You just said they're adding him, right?
No. We've only seen 2 characters for this thing.
Okay.
For this, whatever this is.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why they don't just say, hey, we're working on a new game.
I don't know why
they cannot say that.
I don't know why they don't lead every marketing push with Doctrine Dark. Skullomania.
They're selling a t-shirt with Skullomania on at EVO Japan. They're doing that. We can't get it because we got to be there.
Bob.
Yeah.
Enjoyed the Twilight Princess stream with Eric. I have to go. I get an XL shirt. I fly all the way back. I put it on. What the fuck? Because it's Japan.
Right. I think they said they're only making large sizes in Japan. So it's like, man, that's...
What the? That's racist. Dude, let me be clear. I would have to lose a lot of weight to fit in a Japanese large shirt. I don't think that's possible.
Yeah, I'm not aware of how it scales. Is it just literally one size
It
different?
basically is a medium.
Okay. So I could wear it, but that's...
It would be a tight fit. I think you've gotten a Japanese large before. I can't remember what shirt it was, but it was a tight fit.
Yeah,
If you would like to see Bob wear a Japanese large, there.
Jesus.
Send a money order to. Do you think they're going to remove Gogi?
That system?
Mm-hmm.
They might, because they actually the latest trailer showed all of the like bars and like all the UI stuff. I didn't see Gogi on there at all.
Mm-hmm.
So that's encouraging. It looks like, yeah, you just have your health bar and your energy bars. Like, that's all you need.
Yeah.
We don't need to select gems.
I mean, don't do Gogi, right? Do 3 modes like Street Fighter Alpha 3.
Yeah.
The Xism, Aism, Vism.
Yeah.
Nobody needs Gogi.
Anything is better than that gem system. That
I
for
literally
that.
just checked out on even getting good at the game or caring much because it had that gem system. And I'm like, that's just stupid. You sold how the game should play. Like, come on now. Somebody's saying they already removed Gogi.
I thought they removed it in the Switch version, but I wasn't sure if that version went anywhere else.
Because people were talking about like that version's different from the versions we have on everything else. Oh my God.
Right?
Okay. Great.
I got one last little thing.
Yep. Wish this wasn't the last one. I was going to tell you to go to it ahead of Fexel, but
I'm sorry.
I didn't catch the train in time. I had the bread in my mouth and I was running, but I wasn't fast enough.
For the anniversary of the 25th anniversary of Final Fantasy VII, get your NFT trading cards. Woo!
Is that how I celebrate things now?
I guess.
I'll say what I said before. What's up, Aggro?
Just like they're taking Planet from Mother and putting it on the blockchain.
I'm going to say what I said before this podcast. I expect at least 2 more years of random NFT projects to pop out of Square. I don't think it lasts beyond that.
It's
Yeah,
funny it's
Japan-
always tied to Final Fantasy VII. Other than
mean,
that
Right, other than
weird
that.
game.
Other than whatever I'm sorry. Oh,
Symbiogenesis?
Symbiogenesis, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, as in Symbiogenesis, everything seems to be tied to FF7.
Yeah, you're right. Because they know there's a brain there that they can try to push.
I mean, if
things
you're
with.
selling NFTs, yeah, it makes the most sense to attach those to your big brand. Like Konami immediately went to Castlevania ones when it was their turn.
Right.
Oh, apparently Fighting EX Layer version 3.0 is the name. It just came out right now.
Oh my god. Finally.
But yeah, Japan is on like a delay for these scams. So while all English speaking companies have figured it out, I assume it'll be like 1 more year.
All English speaking companies who had bank accounts at certain places have figured it out. When they tried to buy
that also
dinner.
probably helped.
Yeah.
A lot of these scams like catch on a little bit more in Japan because they have these things called laws and regulations that keep their negative effects from immediately becoming apparent.
Yeah, I honestly figured Japan would have been harsher on crypto and blockchain-based things just because of the financial crisis they went through. But I guess not.
I don't actually know if crypto is caught on in Japan. It certainly hasn't in the way it did in the West.
Yeah, but there are certain parts of the U.S. government that got really like, fuck you for crypto over here. And there are some countries that just banned that shit. I figured Japan would have been closer to that, but not yet. Either way, I think everyone's
did you
slowly
see that,
finding out it's been a feral. What's
Did you
up?
see that? God, this was last week. I think it was after we did Big. It was after we did Big Think. The chief technology officer of Nvidia was like, cryptocurrency is worthless and brings nothing to anyone. Please do not get mad at us for associating so strongly with crypto for years and years.
So was that Jensen Wong?
No, if it
was
a CTO, it's someone else.
Okay.
It was Michael Kagan. And they also followed up by saying, I think artificial intelligence is a much better use of processing power.
Oh my god.
Hey, at least that exists and it can do a thing. How well it does it, debatable. How ethically it does it, also debatable. But crypto isn't a thing, technically.
Hey, there are many ethical use cases of AI, just not AI creation of art. Like, for example, the thing they're working on, which is you can ask it a question, it'll answer it. That's ethical. It did the research for you, assuming it gives you the right answer.
Right, exactly. But it lies a lot of the time, which I love. I don't think I brought that up on the podcast. You know what they call it when a fucking machine learning AI lies? They call it a hallucination. I'm like, I love that you're framing this as, oh no, my AI buddy is having a stroke or a seizure. there's something wrong with him. We gotta no, this dude's just lying. What the fuck are you talking about? fucking Bing over here is like, you're dead and you have been for years. And I'm like, no, it's a hallucination. I'm alive. I love that shit. Anyway, who calls it? And literally everyone who works on AI. Literally every company and individual who works on AI is just like, it's a hallucination. It's so funny. It's
my point
AI
is
is on
that
fire, Seymour. Sorry.
I
Anyway.
can see a future where that application of AI works and is ethical. I cannot see such a future for AI created art or music or whatever.
I want to go ahead and say, what was it? Kaze Emanuar, I believe is the name again. Yeah, that's who it is. The Mario 64 modder and engine re-engineerer. He has done a second video where he tries to get, I believe it's ChatGPT 5 to enhance his code, just like he did for ChatGPT 4 or whatever. Based on how the last video went, this is also going to be who, because what he does is he's like, here's my loop of code. This code, can you figure out what this code does? And it does a pretty good job most of the time of figuring it out. It's like, oh, it like sorts these values into a matrix and then returns the value as this to be used probably for this purpose. And since, game engines all work pretty similar, it's pretty good at figuring out, oh, this is camera code or whatever. But it'll figure that part out, and he's like, okay, can you find a way to optimize it? And it'll think about it, and then it presents like 6 ideas, and he's like, this one will break it, this one will break it. I've done that, it's slower. It's really good. This won't work because the N64 can't do that. It's really entertaining as a video. But I follow what one might describe as too many graphics programmers and engineers on Twitter. And they actually, at least 2 of them that I follow, have been throwing things at ChatGPT and the like to be like, hey, I want to write something like this for OpenGL to convert this into that. Can you just slam out some code real quick that just gets that done? And weirdly enough, Dave Lang, when he went on to Jeff Gerstmann's show, said the same fucking thing of like, yeah, there's some interesting uses for AI that could cut out a lot of stuff like that. That's just like getting the first skin done on a model. That would be nice. That's useful, but nobody wants to use it to make content. Like that's no developer wants that.
That's actually something the producer of the Persona franchise said like yesterday, I think, where it's like,
oh
yeah, AI art has some potential from the angle of like you put in a description of the character you want to design and hit it 100 times and maybe get some ideas. But I don't think it can be used for like actual creation.
Yeah, like for the Dave Lang example and these other people's examples, it really does just seem like do the horribly boring first step that will be nowhere near what, like it takes too much time and is nowhere near what the final thing will be anyways. That's clever, and that is absolutely
as like right now we're still in the stage where everybody's shitting their pants on both sides of the aisle, where it's like, you have people saying the sky is falling. You have people saying it's gonna. We have to be afraid of the machine that doesn't have anything resembling sentience. We're all really fucking stupid.
I mean, I can still be afraid of the machine stealing my job because the higher ups.
Oh yeah,
I'm
because
afraid of the humans.
Right. Yeah, I mean, always be afraid of the humans. The humans are up to no good, aggro.
But like any technology, we're still in the stage where one, it's not ready for prime time in any real function yet. And 2, nobody's figured out what it actually should be used for and what it shouldn't be.
ChatGPT, I am staring at a beautiful woman. She's sitting across from me. Her skin is so fair. How many fingers does she have?
I saw an article earlier today that Google is starting to look into using AI to basically do quality testing on games.
And
Which
that's one of
sounds
those wrong
like
uses we talked about.
Right. That's one of those things. It sounds like somebody said, I can get an executive to believe I can do this.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Like to some extent, the AI, you would like You don't have to stretch your imagination to be like, the AI will watch as it's stuck in a box in the corner of the room and be like, game's still fine. Working great. I'm still moving, god damn it.
Yeah, all like
it could check for crashes pretty well, I assume. But
the real issue with this AI shit is that no executive can look at it and tell if they should use it for that or not, because all they see is no half-pay person.
yes, that's all they ever can see.
Right.
So in a perfect world where everyone was a completely rational actor, you wouldn't
in a vacuum that's frictionless.
Yeah, tell me how the Jesus allegory line will respond to AI.
I do think there's probably going to be a rough couple of years where a lot of companies are like, this product, we got rid of the humans to have an AI, and all that shit's going to fail completely.
Yeah.
If you put a gun to my head, I would say Disney is going to utilize AI to try and fix their problem of no effects house wanting to work with them ever again. So please look forward to Avengers 6, where all the fucking special effects are done by AI.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I mean, I've heard from people at animation studios who've worked on IPs and things that you absolutely know about. And they're like, the executives are trying to get us to use the AI to do backgrounds. So I could absolutely see Disney doing the same damn thing.
Yeah.
What's the background? Wakanda. Weird, it just made the background behind our actor a bunch of people kneeling. That's not what this scene's supposed to be.
Boss, I need you to understand that no matter what that computer spits out, if I tell it to produce a minority group, we are going to be in trouble.
And you won't know. None of us can detect why until the movie's in theaters.
But we're in this stage right now where even the panic is now being used to market AI. Because I was at the fucking gym today, and I had to perceive Fox News at all because it's on one of the screens.
Mm.
And they're having a roundtable about how Elon Musk and a bunch of other tech guys are like, AI is progressing too fast. It might take over humanity. Our dicks are so big. We created this amazing thing. You should be scared.
Loco Man's dick's so big, going to crush town.
Which is... So I don't know. I hope in 3 years we have figured out what it can be ethically used for effectively, and we stick to that.
Every tool humanity has ever gotten has moved us closer to robbing the individual of power. No matter how much each of us may feel more empowered by these tools, the rich will use them to actually dehumanize us more. Anyways, that's a big thing for...
I agree, but if you go too far in the other direction, you get to those assholes in Star Trek Insurrection, where they're like, if you make a machine to do the work of a man, you've lessened the man, so we don't use levers.
Why don't you just machine learn the door open? I would do that, but my father never trusted a machine to open the door. Oh shit. Anyways, I think that was a nice lean on topic big thing to mention. We all stayed perfectly on topic. No deviations at all. I realized I did not prep the image for the next segment, so I'm going to ask Chris first. Hey, Chris, what are you doing in the next week? Oh, shit. Make something up. I need more time.
At some point, I wanted to stream all the Wario Land games. Maybe I'll start that.
Oh, shit. That would be awesome. Oh, yeah. I didn't get to say it because I wanted to stay out of your way of you describing the game. I was so fucking pissed when yet again I wake up and it's like, Chris streamed. He streamed before you got up. He went live, so you missed the notification, and then you didn't see him stream Agents of Mayhem. And let me tell you, I wanted to see that more than I wanted to see half of the Saints Row game. That game, no one has ever been able to articulate what it was until this big thing. I think you broke new ground.
You know, a lot of that stream is me like, you can hear the silent, oh my God, this is so boring. There is nothing going on here at all. I might as well have streamed myself watching paint dry for 5 hours.
Oh my god. A literal death stream because by the end Chris becomes a vegetable?
They put mashed potatoes on a disc.
I came in here like, I'm going to compare this game to Knack 1. That's the level we're operating at. Knack 1 is probably better and more interesting.
God. Thank you for reminding me of the exact game I was trying to remember. That was the most boring would not fucking end game I think we've ever streamed. Because I think that was it.
Maybe.
You went to sleep by the end. Lucky you.
Mm-hmm.
I checked a mission list. I got 40% through that game in 5 hours. Meaning it's probably somewhere in the ballpark of 12 to 15.
So it's shorter than
The worst, most dog shit, nothing, we have no content game is somehow the longest one they made.
Ugh. In a way, that's fitting.
That's fitting and sucks.
Yeah.
In the next week, as in literally tomorrow, Bob and I are playing. Before I show this, I'm just going to be like, just as Zag surprises me. We give him assets, and I'm like, here are some rough ideas of what I think thumbnails would be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, me and Bob are doing this pose, maybe this one. And we're doing this pose. Hopefully you don't do that. Anything about that. Bob and I are playing Twilight Princess.
Oh my god.
I am so... Evil Dan. I'm really excited because I think this is gonna go great. I think there's a lot going on with this game that differentiates itself from Wind Waker that can be refreshing and great.
I'm just impressed, but like the implication here is that Bob is holding this gremlin up by her hair. And that she has both the drive and the core strength to cock her hips up like that.
Mm-hmm. Look, she can't. She must sass at all costs. Jesus. Fucking love this. Oh man. Hey Bob, quick question because I literally don't know enough about the next two Zelda games we're playing. I've never beaten them. Okay.
Okay.
Bob, is that person all the way in the upper right Zant?
Let me see.
They're the negative image.
I believe that's Zant.
Okay.
I cannot remember his name though. So if Zant's from Twilight though, you know that?
Once again, don't know.
Yeah, because I can't. That dude is
that
like
that is Zant. That is Zant.
Okay.
that is
great.
the villain that I can never remember because he's so great.
Don't worry. By the end of this game, I'm gonna say Santa Claus at least 10 times, and then you'll be like, I hate Dan and that guy. I can't remember. What was the name of him? I don't know. All I remember is I hate Dan. I think this is gonna be good. This game has a lot of like Link to the Past throwbacks. I said this in the Wind Waker stream, but I'm gonna say it again here. When they showed off this game, they were like, look at all these Link to the Past references. And I'm like, oh shit, I love Link to the Past. That's cool. And then when they showed off Skyward Sword, I was like, I get it. It's the Zelda theme backwards because he went back to the first Zelda. And then way later, everyone was like, what do you mean that's Zelda song backwards? And I'm like, I thought we all noticed. And then I just started shaking and sweating as I realized I was the only one in the room who noticed we were in space. Anyway,
at least everyone called out that Twilight Princess has a ton of Link to the Past elements.
well, that's good.
Yeah, like that was.
I don't trust that they did that anymore because of how this fucking...
Yeah, no, that was not a problem. They literally beat you over the head with, you're going to the dark world. So nobody missed it.
Anyways, I think this is going to be really cool. I think this is going to be an even better stream than Wind Waker because I don't know what's in this game at all.
Yeah.
I don't know why Link is turning into a wolf. I don't know anything about Midna.
Yeah, I hope the dungeons are better than I remember.
I think I know one thing about Midna.
Yeah.
She dark princess or something?
Yes, there is.
Okay, cool.
So she might even be some sort of
Twilight. She's the fucking half-blood prince! Yes!
God
oh my
damn it.
god! I can't believe that. That's fucking crazy. Oh my god.
I can't believe they got it.
Where's your Midna Amiibo? I need the Half-Blood Princess. Anyways, I'm very excited for that. Hopefully you all come on to check out that stream. I shouldn't be this deranged before the death stream begins. That is not good.
No.
She killed Dumbledore. We gotta go. We gotta go. Aggro, you doing anything the next week?
Yeah, I bought a boat, so I'm gonna sail it around.
Oh shit. Oh shit. What? Okay.
I did that in a video game.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. That's
You live in Florida. You could become a Florida man at any moment.
Oh God, please don't. Man of your size becoming Florida man cannot be good. Anyways, that's gonna do it for this episode of Big Thing Dimension. Goodbye.